Hey, let's start the show.
It's August 2nd, 2012. Welcome to This Is Only a Test, the official podcast of Tested.com. I'm Will Smith. Joining me, as always, wearing what I think is probably a pair of Sennheiser HD 202 headphones, Norman Chan.
It could have been Gary Also, do we usually list the day?
I always list the day.
You did not list the day this time.
No, the date.
Oh, the
Sorry.
day. I know we list the date, but
No, because it's always Thursday.
Well, August 2nd is a when? Oh, Thursday, I guess.
Today is August 2nd. It is Thursday.
Huh.
The podcast will go up later today.
Sometimes we record on Wednesday.
Sometimes. But
I'm
I always
unsure
say,
whether the day of the week is listed.
I list the day for the show, not the day it's recorded.
Interesting.
Gary
Joey's doing
Whitta,
push-ups.
making a triumphant return. You seem subdued.
A
sir.
return, certainly.
So last time we saw you, when
was that? I don't even remember.
Well, we were there off camera for your birthday party
Yes, but I mean,
coming out party for Flopsy Baby Rocket.
But podcast
Flopsy
wise,
Rocket
when you were kicked out of the hospital.
oh, so it was
Yeah.
right. Okay, so that would have been about 4 weeks ago.
It was about
No
4
way.
Yeah. It's been a month.
Because she's coming up on 5 weeks. So
No way.
So because we had
it was a month ago.
two
I think I
Joey
missed
weeks,
about 4 podcasts.
2 Joey weeks and a Brad week, 3 podcasts.
3? Okay.
Wow.
Feels like more.
Yeah, it seems like well,
I'm sure it feels that way for the listeners too.
they missed you. they hate us. It turns out they're just here for the winner.
I
I
glue that
saw
holds this
someone
sandwich
say
together.
that they were going to unsubscribe if you weren't back on soon.
Oh, really?
Joey's doing some crazy sit-ups now.
Those are crunches, not sit-ups.
Can we? Well, but he's like going from right to left. It's like
crunches.
a cross crunch.
Yes.
I thought crunches were bad for your back.
What's going on?
No,
here?
crunches are great. Crunches
So-
are better than sit-ups. Don't
so
hurt your neck.
we're doing Bikram calisthenics in this office. You know, it's where you get the office really, really hot and then do yoga.
Yeah. Hot
Yeah.
yoga.
Yeah, hot yoga. Except for we just do calisthenics because we don't know how to do
In some
yoga.
parts of the city, yoga is hot always. You don't
Okay.
even, regardless of temperature.
Did you
All
know that Bikram is a dude and he trademarked the name?
Yeah.
So it's like there's a whole controversy.
I thought it was like an Indian word.
No, it's a dude's name.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's once again still hot in here. They're supposed to put air conditioning in the next 10 days. We're really looking forward to
That
that.
will be a very welcome addition, I'm sure.
Life
It is pretty
changing.
warm.
I need more things to be angry about, though.
But you need some fresh. I can kick you in the groin if you'd like.
Hmm.
I mean, just let me know when I'm ready.
Okay.
So yeah, you have a new human being has entered your life.
Yep. She's still alive. Managed to keep her alive so far.
It hadn't really sunk in last time, I think. Last time we saw you on the podcast.
That's
I mean,
right.
You did
definitely
show some
knew-
photos.
Yeah.
Did I what?
You showed some great placenta photos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since then,
You're a completely different person.
This is-
Yeah.
this is the transition.
It's like
from-
you've been lobotomized.
Wow.
This experience will do a number on you.
How much did you sleep last night?
Well, last night wasn't so bad because Leah and I are trading off. She'll do one night, I'll do the other, and so the other one, I get to sleep reasonably well every other night.
Okay. That doesn't sound
but
so bad.
But when I'm on, anything more than 4 hours sleep is a luxury.
Wow.
I think.
And you're working still too, because you finished The Walking Dead.
I had
episode
been
4 script the
working.
other
Yeah, it
day.
was tough because I was on a work deadline running an episode of the Walking Dead video game. That was the deadline for that was this week, and because of the baby and everything, I had fallen way behind, and so I had to work quite frantically to catch up. And eventually did hit the deadline, but it was very difficult. It's amazing how much this baby, which is just this kind of little blob thing the size of a bag of flour, basically totally dominates your life and completely upends your life and requires so much time and attention.
It's
Just like I said, just basically to keep it alive.
And
It
it
is.
doesn't do anything but eat, sleep,
Eat, sleep,
and
poop,
excrete.
and demand attention pretty much all the time. And days have a way of just running away. Like you look at your watch and it's like 6 o'clock in the evening, and like I've got nothing done other than all the things that I need to do running around.
Like doing
taking
dishes
care of the baby.
becomes a big thing.
Doing dishes, washing bottles, changing diapers, doing laundry, because the baby goes through like several outfits a day between like spit up and explosive
It's like
poops
Norm.
and things like
Real
that.
outfits.
Leah is still recovering from surgery, so she requires care herself. Most of which she takes care of herself, but I help out as well. And so it just gets away from you so easily.
Yeah.
It's tough, and somewhere in between all that, there's time to just bear, having just 10 minutes to sit down and eat something in peace. That is wonderful.
Wow.
It's anyone with kids at home listening to this knows exactly what I'm talking about, and anyone who doesn't has no idea what I'm talking about.
So is she sleeping and stuff now?
She sleeps
Is she sleeping?
She sleeps okay. The first 3 weeks were deceptively easy, and just in the last few days, she's cranked up the difficulty notch on us quite a bit.
So you've hit a ramp in the difficulty curve. Is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's tough. And
what's the most surprising thing?
You mean in the last few days or overall?
Overall.
Just, I guess it's not that surprising because, intellectually, you know that they require constant care and attention, but you don't really understand what that means until you're called upon to do it.
So much pooping.
You saw some of it. You were very brave and actually witnessed me change a diaper, which was
explosive poo.
No, that was not explosive.
Oh, that wasn't.
No, explosive is when it escapes the diaper and gets all over her clothes and bedding and everything.
And that has happened.
Oh yeah, we had one this morning in the doctor's office.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
Because you hold the baby and suddenly you hear the rumbling and you feel
and the baby makes a certain kind of face. And there's a
then
certain kind of squelchy sound.
Gary, Leah, you got to take the baby now.
Yeah.
Suddenly,
and you have to.
Norm's baby holding addiction backfires.
Yeah. The cool thing is, though, we were enrolled in a baby poop study. They're studying baby poop at UCSF right now.
Wow.
So by scooping up some of the baby poop and putting it into a mailer and mailing it away to the people, we get free Starbucks gift cards.
So you're trading shit for shit coffee.
Well, it's for decent coffee, I think, or they have nice pastries and other
That's
sandwiches and various comestibles.
You can get a bottle of water there.
Yeah, you can get all kinds of stuff at Starbucks.
So were you feces averse before this experience?
To be fair, I've surprised myself in I'm actually much more.
Who is born not feces averse?
I have a much stronger tolerance for it and I think there's something genetic or hormonal that kicks in that when it's other people's babies or whatever, you're just like, oh my God, it's so disgusting, it's so horrible. But when it's your own, you just get on with it. You just kind of do it. You're fully aware that it's disgusting.
Well, you don't have an option.
There was one poop that was the first really, really bad one that was so bad, I literally shrieked and ran upstairs and refused to come down until Leah had taken care of it.
Man, husband of the year there, ladies and gentlemen.
The others though, I guess you just get on with it. I mean, there's a lot of fluids and mess. There's a lot of pee. The baby's peed on me, peed all over me, peed all over my clothes.
Urine's fine.
Poop everywhere, all over the place. A lot of spit up, a lot of little baby vomit. She just regurgitates some of the stuff straight back up.
Yeah.
There's a lot of grossness, but there's also a lot of cuteness. She's super cute and adorable, and it's all worth it in the end.
And when you say outfits, not just diapers changing every day.
No, the actual
Yes.
stuff that she's wearing will get destroyed, and that'll have to be and then you'll change her into a new outfit and a new diaper, and then she will shit into that and spit up all over the outfit immediately, and then so you're changing it again. So we got carried away buying baby clothes prior to the birth of the baby, thinking are we getting carried away here? The reality is no. You need a very, very deep rotation of clothing because you go through it so quickly. Even when you're constantly laundering.
Well, the good news is, you could probably fit 3 weeks worth of baby clothes in one laundry load, right? So you could probably wash all of her clothes in one load at the time.
And other ways that it impacts your life, basically, you can forget about watching any kind of television or movies that require any level of concentration because you just no longer have the ability to concentrate solely on one thing unless that thing is the baby.
Okay.
If you're trying to do something else, like prepare a meal, or type something on the internet, or read an article, or watch television, you have to. There's a certain percentage of time or attention that you can apportion to that, but there's a certain portion, usually the majority portion, that is to do with the baby.
Watching the baby.
So I just gave up. I said, fuck it. I just started watching Mexican telenovelas on Hulu Plus. Because I can't follow anything I'm watching anyway. I might as well follow something that seems like it would actually be really interesting if I could just understand it.
Sabato Gigante.
Yeah, well, no, that's. I mean,
That's
there's like kind of like Amores Clandestinos, and it's good stuff.
You know what's going to happen is she's going to learn to speak Spanish first.
Yeah, that would be
yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of reruns of like just comfort shows. Like I've been rewatching all of 30 Rock because I
that's a
can
good
watch
show.
it and enjoy it. But you know, like with television that you don't really feel like you need to pay attention to, but it's just kind of on and you can kind of like glance at it.
Like every
But
reality
like,
show ever.
we're already a couple of weeks behind on Breaking Bad, which is a show we're very much looking forward to seeing. But we're already a couple of weeks back because, like, again, it's not that we don't want to watch it. It's just finding the time where you can really settle in and concentrate on it. It's just not
Well, I
there.
got to imagine there's nothing worse than one of you sitting down to watch TV and the other, whoever's on baby duty at that time, having to keep pausing and getting up and pausing and getting
Yeah,
up.
I mean,
Pausing, getting up.
it is possible that once you can actually get her to go to sleep and she'll sleep for a good solid couple of hours and then she's fine.
Yeah.
But like, you know, Dark Knight Rises. I mean, what's that?
Yeah.
That's a movie that will be coming to Apple TV at some point in the future.
Oh no! Wow.
I almost sent you a text when we went to see it on Sunday morning at 8:00 to see if you wanted to come, and I looked at Twitter and you'd been up at like 1:00 in the morning bitching about baby shit or something. I notice you're on Facebook a lot these days.
Am I?
Actually, yeah. I mean, it could just be the politics of our day, or that it has the appropriate amount, like you can graze in that the time increments you have, like with your phone or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the, you know, I mean, you feel very much like a prisoner of the baby and a prisoner of the house. And that's why, I mean, you know, we're both kind of homebodies a little bit anyway, but, you know, by choice. When the baby comes along, it's no longer by choice. Like, there's certain things you can't do even if you wanted to.
Is this going to break you?
No.
Of the home? Okay.
No, just make us stronger.
Okay.
It's great. Like you said, all the cliches that people tell you about, yes, it's so hard work, and there are times when you're like, you want to tear your fucking hair out, but at the end of the day, you never once ever question whether or not it's all worth it. It's all totally true. So, you want to talk about technology?
You're uncomfortable talking?
No, I'm concerned. Like, you know, at some point
He's doing baby 24/7.
We should.
it's not. No, it's not even that. I'm really thinking about the listeners. Like, sometimes I worry that listeners tune into this thing as like, isn't this supposed to be a fucking tech podcast? What's going on?
Well,
here?
you haven't shared enough of the. We'll get to the gory details.
Although I'm very
later.
excited about Baby Tested, I think that is something that you should really get into. We have discovered a whole new world of technology and everything from like bottles.
All we need is a baby. Norm, you got a baby coming?
Nope.
Anyway,
all right, so let's get on with it. What's going on?
Technology. So the Oculus Rift. You may remember this from E3. Carmack brought around an early prototype of
John
that hardware.
Carmack or Adrian Carmack?
John Carmack.
Okay.
Adrian Carmack doesn't work there anymore, I don't think.
Not related.
Not related. He had a set of 3D goggles, VR goggles, as it were.
Yeah, and people were really impressed by them.
Yeah, that a guy named Palmer Luckey. Well, so Carmack had been working on goggles as his third garage project. Like after the rocket ships and after the video game stuff, he was working on a pair of.
He also likes to race
think-
really fast cars.
I don't think he does that anymore.
Well, he used to on his desk id software. He used to have one of his paperweights was like an engine, part of an engine block from like a Ferrari F40 that he had blown while racing it.
They all
know,
bought
it was the
Ferraris.
turbocharger, right?
Yeah.
With Duke money.
Yeah. That's a lot. I mean, he made a lot of money.
You could tell where their office was
You
in
think,
Mesquite.
in
'cause it
terms
had
of
12
priority,
floors outside.
is it rockets then video games now?
I don't know.
I
It seems like video games are not the priority, or if they are, he's not really in any hurry to make them. Like he's happy to kind of let projects stew and ferment really over the long term.
Isn't he talking right now?
Oh, it's QuakeCon today.
Yeah,
he
QuakeCon.
probably
Isn't
is.
his keynote going on right now?
Even as we're recording. It seems like his part of the video game making is pretty straightforward.
I think he
under
just
control.
likes to experiment with technology.
Yeah.
I think he's less interested in games than he is with technology and how they can be applied to make better games.
That absolutely seems like the truth. So this Oculus Rift, he'd been working on a pair
and,
of 3D
and this is a perfect
glasses,
example
yeah.
of that.
So he'd been working on a pair of 3D glasses because, you know, I mean, you guys are both old enough to remember the early 90s when everybody was excited about VR and Snow Crash and Neuromancer and all that stuff. And everybody thought that we'd be walking around 25 years from in the future wearing goggles.
The dream of the 90s is alive in Mesquite, Texas.
Yes, exactly. Didn't happen, partly because there were no screens and partly because you look like an enormous dork wearing a pair of glasses, like goggles all the time.
Yeah, and still do. I mean, that Sony set that you had in recently, I mean, again, it's still the same problems that have plagued that technology forever.
Well, that didn't have motion tracking.
Even the big, I mean, I remember people who are around my age may remember this technology. They had like location-based, like when arcades were still a thing, they had this technology called virtuality.
Yeah, I remember
Which
that.
was a big thing that you would step into and put on
And it
the
would be,
gear.
what, $10 or something for
Yeah.
like 15 minutes?
And it was crap. I mean, it was polygons flying around, and it wasn't very.
Yeah, no textures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is it about this one that supersedes all these past failures?
Well, so the thing that Carmack realized a while ago, and this guy named Palmer Luckey, who started Oculus, realized, is that all of the pieces are there to give you a pair of goggles that you can put on and fill your field of vision with image, with whether it's game or video or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing stopping that, right? Motion tracking, theoretically, accelerometers and gyroscopes are precise enough in phones that you should be able to use them to get essentially one-to-one movement in a game.
Not
You
even
turn
in
your
phones.
head.
You're talking about like even in like
the
stylus.
single chip ones, basically, is what I'm talking about. The screens, you can get a high resolution OLED or LCD screen that's 3 inches, thanks again to smartphones, and that should give you massive field of vision when paired with the right optics. The part that was missing that Palmer Luckey, the guy who started Oculus, realized is the optics weren't really there. And nobody really put the whole thing together and applied it in a gaming context. Carmack was working on something similar. When he saw this Oculus VR prototype, he stopped working on what he was doing and went straight and just started using these guys. And that's what he brought to E3.
And put some of his money into it as well. Didn't he invest in it?
I don't know if he invested or if he's supporting with tech or whatever, but
What's the difference?
he said there's no official relationship, but he thinks it's an awesome product.
Right.
What's the difference between the optics and the screen?
So the screen projects the display. It's the thing that's on the front of your phone or a tablet, right?
Okay.
The optics are what puts focus. It lets you focus on something that's set an inch from your eyeballs, right?
Right. And that's always... I mean, like even up until that Sony headset recently, that's always what's been lacking.
Yeah, even the Sony headset. The traditional,
I mean, it's always just kind of looked like felt like a very expensive,
Very
ViewMaster.
small.
That's exactly
Small ViewMaster.
Yeah.
And the thing that it does is it gives you the illusion of like an 80-inch screen at 10 feet.
ViewMasters were cool though.
I love ViewMasters.
I
have
had many
ViewMasters.
discs when I was a kid, and I
Discs,
enjoyed
they're
them
the best
immensely.
discs. How many images were in a ViewMaster disc?
12.
No, it seems like it was more
8.
than that, wasn't it?
No, because remember it's 2.
You only get half.
You only get half.
Ah. And how did they work? Were they like stories, or
Sometimes they
or
were
were they just
stories.
pictures you
Well,
looked at?
you get
Because I
some
remember
were
it, but I don't
accompanied
remember
with
it.
storybooks.
Yeah.
So you read the story and then look in the ViewMaster.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was
get
a
the caption.
stereogram, like
Yeah,
just
the
a tourism
3D, yeah.
thing. Like we're going to the Grand Canyon today, kids.
The contrast
Welcome
in the ViewMasters were wonderful.
Do they still make them?
I don't think so.
Isn't it? It almost seems like one of those
Some-
Toy Story things that
maybe,
kind of probably got brought back.
Yeah, like a Urban
They were-
Outfitters thing.
They were terrific. Though.
It was a fun,
very popular with hipsters.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, remember we tested that iPhone thing last year. That you snapped your iPhone at the end and then ran a ViewMaster app, and it gave you the same experience.
Okay.
It was terrible.
Yeah, it's not the same.
So bad.
yeah.
Low resolution.
And then we had Virtual
ViewMasters were-
Boy
it
and
was
all,
film.
anything that involves like holding it up to your eyes or being some kind of headset. There never has been a good iteration of that.
I like the
Sunglasses.
Virtual Boy.
Virtual Boy was, come on, it was terrible.
It was really bad, dude.
It was
3D was real 3D.
it was awful.
It was real 3D.
Did you ever actually use one?
Yeah,
how were
absolutely.
you even born?
I went to a Blockbuster and used
Were
it all
you
the
even
time.
born? Actually, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came out in like 85, right? No,
No.
90,
No.
91.
No.
No,
I
I
was
was
still
not
in
born in
high school.
91.
You were born in 91.
It was terrible. Virtual Boy was awful.
It was 3D. I could play tennis.
So the upshot on this thing is that he paired a high-speed, high-rate, high-refresh rate head tracker that doesn't lag, because traditional
Right.
existing
And
head
that's the
trackers
problem.
lag.
Yeah.
You know, so you move your head and then the cursor moves, and then you move your head and then the cursor moves. It's a bad experience.
Yeah.
With optics and a relatively high resolution, he's only using a single screen. So instead of using one screen for each eyeball, he has one in the prototype, at least the thing that's on Kickstarter now for $300. He has, I think it's a 1280 by 800 screen, so you get basically 640 pixels per eye.
So theoretically, it's even
wide.
lower resolution than something inside
Than the
Sony
Sony
one.
But from the people that we've talked to that used it, Brad got to demo it at E3. He said the experience is that it fills your whole field of vision
Because of the
vertically.
quote unquote optics.
So when you turn your head, basically the center of your field of vision is filled, and you kind of turn your head and you see vertical slices of the world.
Or move your eyeballs.
You don't move your eyeballs.
You don't move your
So
eyeballs?
is it
Well, you can move your eyeballs, but the image doesn't move with your eyeballs.
Well, you're not.
Obviously.
I mean, but you can. The idea of it being a wide
Yeah,
field
so
of
you
view
can look
is that
around.
you can look around.
So it's
and
kind
use
of,
your
it is
eyeballs.
kind of like a headset version of like those big planetarium movie screens where you go and it is fully like it's 180 degrees around you.
It's kind of like sitting in the real low rows of the movie theater,
Not having
without
seen
the
it, but
negative impact.
theoretically.
This is what when I questioned Brad extensively yesterday about this, and he said it was reminiscent of that, but without the pain of having to tilt way back and look up.
So yeah, I mean, I was jealous of people that because you want to try it, right?
Yeah.
But obviously, it's very limited access right
This
now.
seems to be one of those things that like more than anything else we do. Like tablets, you can kind of get a feel for how it's going to work by looking at video.
No, you have to experience
This
it
you
to
have to
have
see.
any frame of reference at all.
So
But the Kickstarter's fully funded.
Kickstarter
right?
funded in like 4 hours.
$1 million right now almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm advising. So one of the things that has happened is on an HMD enthusiast forum. Palmer has been an active contributor over the years there. And one of the things he said when they were waiting for the Kickstarter to start is, hey, the Kickstarter isn't the consumer product. This is so developers can buy a kit that they can test out their games with.
Right.
He's got support he's got endorsements from Epic, Valve, Unity, id, obviously.
So games as
ZeniMax.
You couldn't just take like the existing Gears of War, throw on a headset and have it work. Like they would need to build in a Oculus Rift supporting mode for it.
My hunch is that you'll be able to get 3D on most everything, but in order to get the one-to-one head tracking and that kind of stuff, the high precision head tracking,
Doom
they'll have to
BFG.
support it natively.
Right, so that's the thing. So there is a special version of Doom 3 that has been made to support this, right?
So that's coming with the kit for $300. You get the glasses, the kit, and Doom 3 BFG.
Did you presumably
we ordered
you guys
one
kicked in?
immediately,
Yeah, of course.
But I wouldn't recommend normal people buy one.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
So it's
Wait
not
for the consumer
100% degree, 180 degrees of movement for your head.
Well, I mean, obviously, you have to keep your hands where the controls are.
Apparently,
There'll
it's only 6 degrees of looking around.
Right, because if you've used a head tracker before, usually it's not 1-to-1 movement. Usually it's like 1-to-20. So you move your head a little bit and you circle through the whole cockpit of your airplane or whatever it happens to be.
Now, when are they going to be shipping these things? The Kickstarter.
The
versions?
Kickstarter versions are shipping in December.
Okay.
What Palmer has said on message boards is that he doesn't think it's out of the question that in 2013 they'll have a consumer-friendly version that is 1080p per eye.
Per eye,
as
opposed to the 480 right now,
as opposed to 640 by 800 per eye.
Now, if this is really like the real deal, it's very easy to imagine a scenario where like Microsoft or Sony or Nintendo comes in and just snatches this whole thing up for a lot of money,
or
right?
Valve.
Well, I mean, a big player basically.
Yeah, I mean, if you're
or
looking,
Microsoft, one of these guys.
Microsoft seems to be moving away from games, and this
I
seems,
mean, just look at Kinect.
Yeah, well, look at Kinect and look at all the Xbox stuff that they've done in the last 2 years.
I don't think they're moving away from games, but I think with Kinect they have their own version of what they think.
fun and gaming.
Getting the game interaction
Core
is all
gaming.
about. Yeah,
But I mean, Michael Abrash has been working at Valve for a while on augmented reality stuff, which is it's not exactly the same as, but it's a similar kind of technology, similar resources. One of the nice things about this is it's not a whole head-mounted thing. It just looks like a pair of big ski goggles.
Weighted pretty
kinda
heavy.
because
on
the
front.
comfort and the weight of the thing is always an issue as well.
Absolutely vital. It has to be comfortable.
tightening on the back.
Yeah, they never feel that Sony one did not feel comfortable at
It
all.
was not. It's not particularly comfortable.
Can you wear glasses with it?
That stuff is all remains to be seen.
It always amazes me. I mean, these are basically trying to do a similar thing. Like Sony, one of the biggest electronics companies in the world with all its vast resources, cannot get this right. And then here comes just some dude, presumably working out of his garage, who cracks it.
I kind of think
we assume.
It's going to be a niche product. It's not going to sell 10 million units.
Well,
couple
you
thousand
say that,
first.
but if a Nintendo or someone comes in and were to license it and buy the technology and bundle it with the next console, then it becomes the next big deal.
Yeah, if literally think about if Halo 5 supports this and it comes with the Xbox and you plug it in the front of your Xbox and then you get full world
Halo
3D.
fans will pay an extra $300 to play Halo.
Well, the consumer version,
Holodeck Halo.
Oh, there you go.
the 1080p version, he said,
Halo Deck.
he would guess would be under $1,000, not $300. But I would say if they actually make this a commercial product, there'll be a range of prices between $300 and $1,000.
Oh, wow.
But
a lot for a tech demo.
It is a lot for a cool tech demo. I mean, I can't imagine Doom. Love it, but Doom 3 wasn't a very good game. I can't imagine since that's the only game that they have listing support for this right now. It's a real bad buy if you're looking for something. If you just want to buy it to use it, not to build content.
But there's a lot of promise. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
It's real exciting, and it's exciting in a way that virtual reality stuff hasn't been in a long time.
Yeah.
Hulu Plus is on Apple TV now.
Yeah.
Norm, you tried this out.
Yeah, no, I tried Apple Video on Demand.
You tried.
I don't pay.
I
for
tried
Amazon.
Hulu Plus on Apple TV.
Do you like it?
Because I'm still, God knows why, a Hulu Plus subscriber.
We are too.
I think just because I'm too lazy to go in and like cancel it.
You know what it's good for? It's really good if, like, when Gina misses an episode of The Bachelor or something like that and wants to go back and watch that.
But I have on
she
demand
wants
for
it
that.
there.
I can go grab
we
it
don't
there.
see. We don't have.
Oh, the
Okay.
Comcast box sucks.
I mean, it's good. It's good for some stuff. There is some original programming on there. They have all the Criterion movies. There's some value to
Has
it.
anyone
It's-
watched the original programming?
No.
I watched an episode of the Kevin Smith thing.
Yeah, I did as well. I watched some of Kevin Smith's spoilers. show.
spoilers.
Is that any
Yeah.
good?
It's kind of hard to tell because, to be fair, the one that I watched was like the Aurora, Colorado episode, which was kind of probably not typical of their normal programming. It was more of a serious episode. But I like that there is programming like that, by fans, for fans and stuff. And Hulu is one of these outlets that makes that possible.
What did I watch? The one I watched was quite good. Like the audience, it seems like my hunch is that he edited the questions down so it was only the good ones from the audience. Because I expected there to be kind of a bunch of Comic-Con style bad questions or comments from people.
Is it questions? People from the audience?
It's,
there's a bunch
kind
of
like almost like a big panel show.
It's like Donahue from movies.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, I don't want that. I don't care what other people say.
It wasn't bad. He's a pretty good host. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, and I watched some of the telenovelas on there, and there's some good content. There is some good content. There's a lot of overlap. Again, it's not. I'm just glad when these services. I like the idea of as many services as possible on one box. So I'm not like, well, I want to watch HBO Go now. Like, again, on Apple TV, I want to watch HBO Go. It's not there yet. I've got to go find it on another box, and I don't have to keep switching over. Hulu Plus now, if I can stay in the Apple TV ecosystem as much as possible, I will, because it's a low-power box. I like the interface. I love being able to throw up AirPlay mirroring from Mountain Lion on my iPad anytime I want. That's cool as well.
Yeah. Or your MacBook Air.
That's what I'm just saying, Mountain Lion. So that's because it works really, really well. But it's the Hulu Plus service, and it probably is the cleanest, most elegant interface of Hulu Plus. The Hulu Plus interface on devices is not great. Yeah, it's perfectly navigable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right now, but before Hulu was on Apple TV, you could get Hulu Plus on Apple TV with the mirroring. If you pulled it up on your laptop, not on your iPad.
Right, it wasn't blocked or anything.
Right, if you pulled it up using Flash Player on your MacBook Air,
you
could throw it up there, but then you couldn't do multitasking. Your MacBook would be dedicated to streaming that video.
Yes, and so it's a nice addition, and hopefully we'll see HBO Go and some other services next.
Amazon Video on Demand, we touched this. There's an iPad app now. When I tried it, I couldn't get it to work.
It sucks.
It sucks
because I like Amazon Video on Demand on my PlayStation, on my Xbox. It's a great service. If you're a Amazon Prime subscriber, it's great. All that free video you get,
but you can't search any of the free video on the iPad app.
That's annoying.
Browsing is lame.
Well, I'm actually surprised to hear that there was one at all, because again, you think Apple is very careful about letting these other video content services.
I think that's
especially Amazon.
I think that Apple's actually on a road to real problems with their not letting people compete with core apps. The fact that they don't let you change the default browser and things like that are exactly the kinds of things that Microsoft got in trouble with antitrust police for. I think that they're going to have real problems if they don't lose.
Amazon isn't great because it's not really their core business. It's something they've had to kind of learn. Like user experience, they're not terrific at it. The user experience of buying stuff on their website is pretty good.
It's the best.
But like actually consuming content, they're still learning how to do that.
And one of the things that Amazon does that really frustrates me is the they'll roll out a feature that sounds great on paper and then it just disappears. So things like the loaning Kindle books. I went through my Kindle library and none of those books are loanable. Right. And I know they blame that on the publishers, but still, I want to be able to loan books to somebody. It's a pain in the ass. I end up just buying them and gifting them.
Yeah.
You should tilt up, Norm. Not the screen. There you go. Keep talking.
But yeah, I mean, the first iteration of Amazon Instant Video on PlayStation 3, they're updating them all the time, but like there was no way to favorite shows or make playlists or every time I wanted to watch a show, I'd have to like dial all the way through the massive library all over again from scratch, and it wasn't very user friendly. But they every new iteration they add the features that they're supposed to have.
Amazon doesn't necessarily have the best user interface.
Yeah, and again, those issues aside, I reiterate that it's actually a really good service. There's a ton of content on there, regular paid content. If you want to buy or rent a TV show, they have a huge library. And again, if you're an Amazon Prime user, which you should be anyway, because it's a great value.
Yeah,
it's $80 a month, or a year.
$80 a year, and you get
for
the 2-day free shipping on everything, and there's all kinds of other benefits, including like this tremendous video service with all this kind of free video.
Well,
and you have if you have the if you have the physical Kindle, you can get books for free,
loaner books.
Yeah.
Although that's kind of a ripoff too, because you know how that works. You can check out one at a time, and you can do one a month or something like that. There's super limitations on that as well. Let's talk about Windows 8.
Oh yeah, so they announced the dates, right?
They did the dates while you were gone. It's coming to normal human beings on October 28th. 26th, sorry. It'll be for MSDN and TechNet subscribers, so developers and IT pros on the 15th of August.
Yeah.
And then it was RTM'd yesterday, or day before yesterday now, I guess.
Right.
So unlike
so release
Apple's
to manufacturing is what that means.
Yeah, so it's completely
releases.
finalized,
Yeah.
basically.
That
yeah,
means,
yes.
well, I mean, they'll obviously continue to work on it just like everything else. And I'm sure there will be a bunch of 0-day patches and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have sent discs to Lenovo and HP and Asus and all the Windows manufacturers.
You can put this on your laptops.
And well, they're now working on what they want to do to the laptops with that OS, knowing that OS is final as it is right now.
Right.
So we'll be able to download it on the 15th with MSDN subscription,
TechNet,
and we can talk about it.
And
on
I
the
can
15th.
I can finally start getting serious about building a new gaming PC. Although, frankly, again, go back to the original topic at the top of the podcast. Forget it.
Yeah, good luck.
That's not happening either.
Yeah, if you can play something on your iPad for 5 minutes, you're doing good, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to end up playing fucking cow stroking Facebook games that you can play for 5 minutes at a
Farmville,
time, because
man.
that's pretty much it for me.
Welcome to Momland.
Yeah.
Watching soap operas,
Yeah.
playing Farmville.
Telenovelas in Farmville. This is a grim future you paint for
It
yourself.
really is
Gary Whitta.
grim. It's very grim.
Hey, have you watched the Olympics at all?
Yeah.
I've been watching
lot
the
of
Olympics.
I've been watching a lot of Olympics.
You've
What
been
are you-
watching
what are
a
your-
lot
what are
of
your-
a lot of Olympics.
No, not a lot, but quite a bit. What are your favorite events?
Most of the stuff that's not on the normal primetime show. So, like I like watching.
Well, I mean-
swimming's good.
Swimming's
I
always
mean,
on
but you
prime
can
time.
dial down into the other NBC channels and find lots of other things.
So the problem is, I like to TiVo it all and
Okay.
then just fast forward.
Okay, answer the question. What are the favorite events?
I love watching badminton.
Badminton is great. I used to play
Badminton's
badminton when
fantastic.
I was a kid, and
Yeah.
it's a great sport, and it gets
Track and field.
It gets wrongly, people think of it here in America mostly as like just of a fun kind of backyard game, but there is a very serious competitive element. I mean,
It's every bit as competitive as ping pong.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And I say that
it's
without-
as different as you look at the ping pong that we would play,
Yeah.
and then you watch like the Koreans play at Olympic level. It's an utterly different. It's not even the same sport,
Well,
and the same is true of badminton.
So the stuff that I like in the Olympics are the sports that, like, that you think, oh, hey, I'm pretty good at badminton or croquet or whatever. Well, they don't do croquet, but they used to do croquet as an Olympic sport. Think about that for a minute.
They used to do poetry. as
Well,
an
to be
Olympic
fair,
sport.
there are still lots of Olympic sports that are
Synchronized diving?
Pretty ridiculous. No, synchronized
No,
diving
that's-
is cool.
Synchronized diving is amazing.
However, and I got in trouble for this on Twitter this morning. Water polo. I'm sorry, that is ridiculous.
Why? Have you ever tried that?
No, well,
I can't-
I'm not.
I can't tread water for more than 5
It's
minutes.
very-
Can you tread water without
There
your
is
hands?
there is clearly a tremendous amount of athleticism involved because it's an 8-foot deep pool.
Yeah.
God.
That so you're constantly treading water.
It's
is-
water
I can-
basketball.
You can feel your
Just
your,
treading water in place for like a
Exactly,
minute is
yeah.
very, very hard.
Exactly.
Like if
Without
we tried
hands up in
to
the
play
air.
water polo at Olympic level, we would basically drown. We
Yeah.
would die.
Like if you have to, the way they train is by holding their hands out of the water and treading water.
for an hour,
Think
hour
about
at
that.
a time.
Yeah, and if you haven't
Yeah.
done it recently, you don't realize how much hard
No,
work
your
it
legs.
is.
My legs cramping up right now thinking about it.
And then the other
10
thing
push-ups,
the
Jan.
other thing that I learned that I didn't realize is that apparently it's quite a violent and dirty game. There's
Yeah,
an
there-
awful lot of
grabbing,
dip punching,
yeah.
and grabbing the balls because you can't see anything.
Right, it's all underwater.
They pull your shorts down. There's all kinds of
Yep.
stuff
It's like
going on.
soccer, but the offenses are real.
But it just looks
The violations.
But
Yeah.
unless you have an appreciation of what really goes into playing it, it looks silly.
They don't have the underwater cam on water polo for a really specific reason.
I tell you what really has been my standout sport that I've loved watching on the Olympics this year is archery. Archery is fantastic.
See,
to
I
watch.
can't get Gina to watch the archery.
I watched the women's gold medal match this morning, which went down to a 1 arrow shoot off closest to the target.
Shoot off.
Yeah, because they were
So
they were tied on points
That's
after 5
brave.
sets.
That's the plot of Brave.
Basically, I was desperately wanted someone to split an arrow.
yeah.
Which is
You mean like
impossible.
They
Robin
were
Hood, Prince
tied
of
after
Thieves?
the Mexican and Korean singles women.
Yeah.
Were tied after 5 sets, and so it goes to literally a 1 arrow shoot off closest to the center, and it was. I mean, it couldn't get. And the men's team final earlier in the week also came down to like a last minute crazy thing. It's been really fascinating to watch, and that's a real skill. I mean, that archery is no joke.
Have you ever done that?
No, I tried. Yeah,
I know
Yeah.
people are really into archery. Like I know Drew is trying archery. My
Yeah.
brother bought a bow.
Yeah.
People just like archery.
Are all the gymnastics over?
No, there's still a little bit more.
I think the
individual
all around individual.
Have I missed the rings?
all-arounds.
Because I love the rings. That's my favorite gymnastic event.
I love the rings and the pommel horse and that kind of stuff. Like all that, like when you see some dude that's just standing there with his arms straight out and he's shaking, and
Yeah.
you look at that and it looks like, oh, it's not that hard, and then you think about what he's actually doing, you're like, oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah, that's
impossible.
yeah.
dressage.
The horse stuff is fun.
I think that again. That's another one that I got grief for criticizing because it's just prancing around on a horse.
Well, the thing about-
but it does. I
The-
mean, all
the
of these
oldest
things require
Olympian,
skill.
Who's like 80-something years old
Yeah.
is doing dressage.
Yeah.
So here's the my family raises horses, so I have a little bit of knowledge about this. The thing that's weird about horse events is a lot of them are this all horse skill. Like I mean, obviously not at an Olympic level, but at an amateur pro-am level. Like if you buy a really expensive horse, you can immediately be much better at dressage.
Yeah.
Like Mitt Romney's horse?
Like Mitt Romney's horse or his wife's horse.
It's a very 1% sport.
The
Anyone can do it on a budget. It's got to manage your budget.
The hunter jumper stuff and the jumpers where they ride like maniacs over the poles.
I like show jumping.
That stuff's awesome.
Show
That's
jumping
Christopher
is
Reeve.
fantastic.
And that's really hard. No, Christopher Reeve's steeplechase.
Oh.
Steeplechase. So the difference between the jumper is that when you hit the jumps as a jumper, they fall down. The steeplechase,
They're supposed to fall down.
They're supposed to fall down. They're designed to fall down. The steeplechase.
I would imagine that would break some knees of horses.
No. They have like shin
okay.
guards on basically. The steeplechase is when they have like 2 telephone poles crisscrossed, and I don't think that's an Olympic sport. So like they'll make a jump instead of out of poles that are in cups that fall off. They'll have just 2 telephone poles. If the horse hits
As an X.
as an X, and
And
they
you're
jump
not
over
supposed
the X.
to break the X.
It's telephone poles. If the
Wow.
horse hits the X,
That's it.
the horse loses. It's
And
like
you
being a
potentially lose.
I do.
Christopher
I
Reeve.
think the show jumping is the only equestrian event I can really enjoy.
Yeah.
Fencing is fantastic
Fencing's-
to watch. I had
Oh,
no
Did you see
idea.
the difference in
drama.
that dude's arm?
Well, I had no idea how high tech the suits had become. It looks like
yeah.
Daft Punk got into a sword fight.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. The helmets light up, and it looks like something from Tron.
Yeah.
It's very
It's crazy.
The Olympics are very high tech overall.
It was very, very. I thought one of the most heartbreaking stories was that when
South
the
Korean.
technology failed.
Yeah.
I think Rolex
no, what happened?
or Omega, who's still the fact that they're still running.
it's
those,
Omega.
We are the official timekeeper. They should be ashamed of themselves.
The 1 second.
That was
the
because
extra second?
the timer broke and it cost
Gave the
that
German
South
player-
Korean fencer a gold medal. It's terrible.
On the track
Or
and-
medal period.
Yeah.
on the track and field tech note, I read an interesting story yesterday in the Atlantic about the starting gun.
There
for
is no starting gun.
100-meter races.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Or
there's-
any races at all.
right. The problem was the person on the lane furthest from the starting gun had a disadvantage because it took the sound longer to
Right,
get to them.
right.
And somebody like Michael Johnson, who has among the fastest reaction times in the world, would take off. And if he was on the outside lane, he'd be 4/10 of a second from the time the gun fired. The person on lane 1 would be 1/10 of a second from the time the gun fired.
Or the reaction time would be delayed too.
Right. So they actually now have speakers directly behind the starting
Well,
block.
Even when they added the speakers, the fact that they had the real gun, your psychological,
Yeah,
you listen
which
for the
sounds
real
ridiculous, but when the difference between a gold and silver medal can come down to like 100th of
Yeah.
a second, then you need to shave every piece of accuracy you can.
Well, and it's not on that kind of stuff, and on the swimming takeoffs and all that, on the sports where the difference between winning and losing is hundredths of a second, then getting that reaction time down is a real important part of it.
Yes, absolutely, and also not overcompensating because a false start you can be disqualified.
especially in swimming. You jump in the pool too early, you're
there's
out.
no
It's
way to
done.
kind of pull back from that.
Yeah.
You want to be that guy with the suit standing behind the swimmers, arms folded,
Yeah.
and checking.
The
That's
yeller.
easiest job in the world.
By the way, I just want to say, and I'm sure I'll get shit for this whole nonsense about Michael Phelps being the greatest Olympian of all time. What a crock of shit that is.
That dude just wants to go back to Olympic Village and hit some bong rips.
Look, not that there isn't a tremendous amount of skill and athleticism involved in
boy.
in swimming,
Yeah.
but it's kind of bullshit that if you're a swimmer, you get basically 20 different fucking shots at a medal. 400 meter this, 100 meter that, backstroke, butterfly, individual medley, everything you can imagine. Yeah, of course you're going to get a lot of medals if you're good at swimming because you get like 50 attempts at it.
but that equestrian
Not
lady.
Show me a
True.
fucking decathlete. Show me someone like Bruce Jenner or Daley Thompson, who you got to be great at 10 different things just to get one medal. That's a fucking Olympic athlete right there.
I don't think any of us are in a position to judge whether Olympic athletes are legitimate or not. Joey's doing more push-ups again in just a moment, I think.
You should have him over here, probably more qualified to talk about
probably
it.
I think
true.
Michael Phelps is probably more qualified as an Olympian than the guy who won a gold medal for pros. They're creative Olympics.
Maybe
Creative
so.
Olympics seems like something that the part of the 1,000 points of
Painting.
light. No
Painting
child left
Olympics.
behind. Should we talk about something else? Oh, okay. So a couple of stories about Olympics relating to technology. They're streaming the Olympics on NBC.com. You have to have cable, or not on NBC.com, but you have to have cable in order to get access to that streaming thing, which is complete horse shit as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned.
Yeah.
The time delay thing has been super controversial. There was actually a really well-reasoned article about why they kind of have to do that, given the time zones that England are in, and the fact that when they did the Beijing Olympics, then the officials delayed the start or did some events very early in the morning so they'd be live at prime time.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I don't understand. I understand why they need the 4 hours of scripted drama, for primetime viewers, because some people
Yeah.
want that.
I don't understand why they can't
why-
broadcast the events live
Exactly.
whenever they're on for people that are
Yeah.
interested to watch
Right.
them
Yep.
live, and
That's
then
the
just show
thing.
them prime
And then-
time later.
exactly.
Why do they have to
Yep.
hold them?
That's
Because you end up
especially on the weekend.
look. this whole business with NBC and the Olympics, it's turned into a global masterclass in how not to broadcast an international event. I think it's been embarrassing, frankly, compared to what, I mean, and this is interesting. A lot of people, I've been complaining about this for the last couple of weeks because I think the NBC coverage is terrible for many reasons. And a lot of people, my fellow Brits who are back home saying, oh my God, the BBC coverage is so much better. 24 channels, interactive events, all this kind of web components. Like that's how you do an Olympic broadcast. And it's really interesting to me, and I think disappointing that America, which, really, I think in many ways rightly considers itself a tech leader in the world, when it comes to things like communications, like cell phone technology, broadband networks, and television broadcasting, we're really, really behind other countries. The BBC is so far ahead in what they're doing. I was thinking about this earlier today. In the 1980s, when I was a kid growing up in the UK, we used to have a system called teletext. I don't know if you...
I read about teletext.
They never had it here. But it was basically like a mini low-res internet.
It was email.
No, it was nothing like email.
You couldn't email?
No, it was like a very, very basic version of the World Wide Web, where what they did was, when TV used to be 625 lines,
yeah.
There used to be redundant lines at the top of the signal that weren't used for the television picture. And they found a way to take those, and it was a very, very small amount of data, but it was enough to basically render very, very low res text and image pages.
Huh.
So it looked like basically imagine if the internet,
blinking signals.
Imagine if there was like an 8-bit version of the internet.
Yeah.
That was very, very blocky, but it was enough to dial up. You would type in 3 digits, and you could get news.
So it's two-way communication. You could actually get specific.
No.
You would
dialed into
you would press the
channels.
teletext button, and you would get a basic splash page that would look like kind of the old Yahoo search page, but in very, very basic, like War Games 1980s graphics, or like old bulletin boards. And you could dial up a news index. You could see news headlines. You could see sports results. You could get weather. You could
it's like something
travel.
Out of Contact.
It was basically a precursor to the internet that we know today. And we had that on television in the 1980s.
The French had something like that too in the same time period. I can't remember what theirs was called.
MIPNet or something?
Something like that. I learned the French name when I took French in college, but I can't remember what it was.
And
but it was a similar thing.
It was in the story recently because they actually just turned it off. And I think, British people will correct me, I think you can't get teletext anymore either because there's not really any point to it.
Right.
But like the BBC now has this thing where you can press a red button and dial up. And this is just broadcast. This is nothing to do with the internet. This is just broadcasting as part of the digital television signal. You can get alternate angles, alternate commentary tracks, all kinds of stuff. You can dial up any Olympic event at any time. It's so far ahead of what we have here.
And then the iPlayer stuff for BBC programming. If you're on a UK IP, you can look at basically anything that was on broadcast TV.
All of their programming
the
is archived, and we have some of that on the American TV.
Is there even any way
nothing like the same
to watch
degree.
the opening ceremony like on iPad or on the internet
live?
Legally, not live, but
it
like
certainly wasn't live.
I'm sure it's on iTunes by now.
You have to pay for it.
I'm sure. So the thing that's different though is that in the US, TV networks are supported by advertising revenue. In the UK, BBC is supported by the TV license fees, which are pretty substantial.
It's about the equivalent of about $220 per year,
right?
Which,
everyone
frankly, is much less than most people pay for even basic cable service.
And that pays for Doctor Who.
That pays for Doctor Who. It pays for sports. It pays for a world-class news service.
Wow.
It pays for the kind of quality broadcasting which isn't commercially driven. So not everything has to be, oh my God, how do we get ratings? They can actually produce stuff that they think is just good quality.
Yeah.
And that doesn't always work. The BBC makes trashy programs as well, but they actually have, and this is why it would never work here, but they do actually have like a government remit, which says that, much like PBS does,
socialist television,
in order to get the government funding and so forth, that they have to provide a certain amount of programming, which is considered educational or
National Endowment for the Arts.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see something like that here, but we never will.
No. You can all move to England. Different set of problems, though.
Yeah.
Or just invest in VPN.
You can do that. I know a lot of people, and of course it's a bit, it's not strictly legit, but a lot of people are using VPN proxy servers to act. They'd rather watch the BBC feed than the garbage they're getting on NBC.
I looked at setting that up, and the proxy services are all jammed right now.
Why is fucking Ryan Seacrest reporting on sports? What the fuck does he know about any of that? Have you watched these interviews with
really
the Olympic
bad.
gymnasts? He hasn't got a fucking clue what he's talking about.
He's a DJ.
These interviews are embarrassing.
He's really good live. I mean, maybe they looked at him on American Idol. Like, he's okay.
He's good live.
Yeah, he's quick on his feet. You watch what's his name?
The Balmer interview.
What's he going to be doing next? Reporting from the fucking Large Hadron Collider? He knows about as much about that as he knows about sports. Why not?
He did MC Microsoft's keynote at CES.
It's a joke.
Seacrest out.
He's really short in real life too. I bumped into him at CES.
His whole like he wears suits that are too small too, like those Tom Ford suits.
You're supposed to wear suits that are a little small for you.
When you're 5'0", yes.
Did I ever tell you about the time I
If
walked
I
into
wear a suit that's too small for me, I look like a fat man in a little suit.
Did I ever tell you about the time I walked into a Tom Ford store on Rodeo Drive?
No.
On purpose?
What a belittling experience that was.
This was when you were still heavy?
No, this was recently.
Oh,
in
wow.
fact, part of the reason why I went in was this was about 6 months ago, and I was in LA on business, and I had caught.
Oh, this is the
lot
leather
of-
jacket story.
Yeah. Did I? Yeah, I've told you this story.
I'm not sure
You
if
haven't told
maybe
them
on the
story,
podcast.
though.
Yeah.
You've started now. You're in.
I had a couple of meetings in LA, and a lot of the places and production companies are in that kind of 90210 area. And I was like caught between a couple of meetings. I had like an hour to kill, and I was literally on Rodeo Drive, and I was wandering around, just kind of window shopping, just looking at the crazy, ridiculous things, like the $50,000 Louis Vuitton bags and stuff. And there aren't actually prices on anything.
Yeah,
because
if you have to ask,
you can't afford it. So the Tom Ford stuff does look good, and I'd recently lost enough weight so I could actually wear something nice like that.
Yeah.
So I wandered in.
Yeah, because just to be clear, they don't have a big and tall section on most of the stores.
No,
on
these
Rodeo
clothes
Drive.
are cut for people that look like the people in the Tom Ford
beautifuls.
ads. So
Yeah.
there's no Tom Ford jacket for a fat person.
Missed opportunity.
So I wandered in, looking.
Sure, a lot of rich fat people.
Ford fatty.
I
New
wandered
line.
in looking much like I do now. And I instantly thought that the guy that they have there standing, because they have a guy that kind of like
At
sizes
the door.
you up right as you walk
It's
in.
like the bouncer.
Not sizes you up like for a fit, but like sizes you up like your social economic status. And I wandered in, and I could see the guy giving me like a bit of a stink eye. And I thought it would be one of those like, "There's nothing for you here, sir. May I suggest you try Kmart?"
Right.
Well, it's a very Seinfeld or Larry David situation. Like,
So, the thing is, you don't know. I could have money.
Exactly.
You just don't know.
Well, that's
a
the
lot.
thing
A
about
lot of
San
people that are
Francisco.
super rich don't look like they have money.
Yeah, especially in the age of the internet millionaire, where it's some dude with a pair of fucking sweatpants.
There's a famous story, perhaps apocryphal, about the British magazine magnate Felix Dennis, who was very, very, very rich, but he didn't look like much.
Is this Dennis Publishing?
Dennis Publishing.
Okay.
So, but to look at him, you wouldn't think he had money. And he walked into I think when he made like his first $1 million or the first £1 million, walked into a Rolls Royce dealership and got "There's nothing for you here, sir." And then someone else came out and said, "What's going on here?" Like the manager, and said, "I actually have a shitload of money, and I'll buy any car here right now, but only if you sack this fucking asshole." And anyway, so.
Did he get sacked? According to the probably apocryphal
in the
story?
apocryphal version, I think he was, but
Okay.
again, it's probably apocryphal. But anyway, so the guy comes in, so I watched, and I tried to get out in front of it, and said to the Tom Ford guy, "Look, I don't have a lot of money to spend, but maybe there's something here I can afford. I don't know."
The keychains are over here, sir.
And but you look at a shirt. It's super. I was thinking maybe I could get a polo shirt, and then I own something Tom
yeah.
Ford.
Yeah, of course.
No.
Well, it's like the Porsche store or
what
the
is a
Ferrari store.
What is a polo shirt? What is a Tom Ford polo
Well,
shirt?
so
run?
just to put it in context, there was a leather jacket that they had there, and I put it on.
Leather jackets are not inexpensive.
And there are no price tags.
Yeah.
I put the leather. You have to ask.
Oh.
I put the thing on, and it was a mistake because as soon as I put it on, I just felt like $1 million. It was, to be fair. I mean, these things are expensive, and oftentimes you are just paying for the label. But at least in this particular case, this leather jacket was unbelievable.
So, like a good leather jacket makes you feel like Fonzie.
It just hung off me perfectly. The leather was so soft and smooth and beautiful.
Yeah,
I looked and clocked myself in the mirror, and I'm just like, "Oh my god, I just feel like the shit wearing this leather jacket."
So at this point, you had a number in your head.
Yeah,
you were
so
like, if it's under this, I'm in.
yes, and I said, "Look, I would never
and really,
spend
that's
this kind of
about
money."
10% below the real number, the number you say in your head,
I
because
said,
there's leeway.
Yeah, and you give yourself a little bit, like you could probably go a little bit over what you're telling yourself.
Exactly.
And I said, and the calculation I did in my head was, this is crazy spending this. I think the most I've ever spent on an item of clothing is maybe $500 for a nice suit.
Yeah.
And so I said I could see myself spending up to $1,000 on this jacket, and I would probably be really buyer's remorsey about it, but I could treat myself one time to something that sometimes it's fun to splash out on something crazy like that.
And a
Let me tell
leather
you now,
jacket, something especially
$1,000 for a leather
I
jacket.
can go
It's
to
not gonna get you that.
$1,000 on this leather jacket.
But that's something you can.
This is before I had looked at the prices of anything else, so I had no baseline.
Okay.
I started with the leather jacket.
Okay.
And I put the leather jacket on. I'm like, and the guy's like, "That looks really good on." Of course, he's going to say that, but
Yeah, of course.
it really did. And I was like, "Oh man!" And this is going to break my heart if I can't afford it. I'm up to $1,000 in my head, And I said to the guy, come on, give me the bad news. What's the damage? $8,500. So that was obviously way over.
Wow.
And so I put it back and I said, look, what do you think I can afford? He said, well, maybe a polo shirt or a scarf.
A scarf.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gary.
But even the polo shirts were like $750 or something.
What?
And honestly, it did. I'm having a hard time. I'm sure it's a very nice polo shirt, but it wasn't a $750.
And it's a polo. Like a leather jacket lasts for a long time if you take care of it. A polo shirt, you got 30 washings max.
Well, that's the thing. When you buy something that expensive, you can't even go clean it the way you normally clean.
No,
your
you have to
clothes.
go to the nice dry cleaners.
Exactly. I get to dry clean all your polo shirts.
No, but I mean, like even the Chud dry cleaner at the corner of the street's not
you're
going to be
not
good
throwing
enough.
that in the laundry with your grody underwear.
Right. It's like if you buy a nice car, you're not going to go hose it down every day. You're not going to go take it to like the corner car wash.
Honestly, if somebody bought me a $750 polo shirt, I'd probably just go get it, put it in a shadow box, and hang it on the wall as art. Because it's a $750 polo shirt. I'm afraid to wear that.
Yeah, it was kind of nuts. Those kind of places are for people that have so much money that dropping that kind of money on a jacket or a shirt means nothing to them.
That $4,000 is like dropping $20 at Starbucks for one of us when we buy coffee for friends.
Yeah, so we still haven't said anything about technology.
No. We've talked about technology. So a report came out that said American businesses have lost $650 million due to streaming the Olympics while at work.
Okay.
I want someone to do that calculation on the Corgi Cam on YouTube.
Oh, not as many people watch the Corgi Cam.
Yeah, about 1,500 people.
The Paleo Future on Twitter mentioned this and wanted to know how much people waste on going to the bathroom at work.
I think the number, by the way, the biggest number, the one that really destroys American productivity is March Madness. There's a productivity dollar lost number on that one. I think it's even bigger than the Olympics.
With all the gambling and stuff?
Well, yeah, because the gambling and people do office pools and stuff. It's even bigger than the Olympics.
Fantasy football is probably pretty bad too, but it's a smaller audience, I would think.
Yeah.
So I figured out, I looked and I did some research and I found out how many people are in the American workforce and what the average wage is for an American employee and how much time an average poop takes. And I figured out...
How much time does...
10 minutes there, more or less.
Are you kidding me? That is inefficient pooping. Also, that borderline's guaranteeing people at the office know that you are pooping.
Of course.
No.
Are you afraid? Gary, what does everybody do?
More and more of Norm's toilet issues come out every week.
Yeah.
You notice that?
10 minutes is absurd.
10 minutes is a long time.
Absurd. First of all,
that's for the whole day. That's
you're going to poop more than once a day at the office?
No, Norm. But some people do urinate multiple times a day.
Yeah, okay.
That's 2 minutes of urination times 2 plus a 6-minute poop is 10 minutes. If you can poop in less than 6 minutes, I want to see that.
No, you don't. The whole point is you got to be a ninja.
I can, and you don't. You don't want to see that. But come on. It doesn't take long to do a poop.
People in the military,
constipated.
the people in the military have to go poop in like 40 seconds. That's it. 30 seconds. That's all you got.
There's a real specific reason I'm not in the military. You're not supposed to push. You got to take it easy. You let things come their natural pace.
That's how you get hemorrhoids.
Yeah. Your fast pooping is going to
If you have a good diet, you shouldn't have to.
Exactly.
Right.
Eat the fiber in the morning.
Right.
Chew your coffee grounds well, and
just let nature take its course. Sometimes you feel like you may have to go.
You do not need to slide right out of there.
No magazines.
That's what the iPad's for.
No iPads. No, you want to. The poop time needs to be short enough that could be mistaken as a long pee / hand washing.
You're very
very
self-conscious about what other people think of you. And
I'm considerate. I don't want people to even think about it. Period.
Who cares,
Norm, everybody poops. Everybody poops.
I never read that book.
Well, I'm going to get a copy for you.
Yeah, I think you should.
It's good.
I feel like if you'd have read that book when you were a kid, you'd be psychologically a different person today.
Is this a Tiger Mom thing? Like, were you encouraged to be an efficient pooper from a young age?
That's racist.
It is.
A little bit, yeah. It's in the common vernacular. $121 billion a year, assuming 10 minutes worth of bathroom breaks per employee. $1 billion. Yeah,
but you can't not poop. However, you can say you're not watching the Olympics while you're supposed to be working.
Well, the city of LA said you shouldn't watch the Olympics while you're working. You're killing all our bandwidth.
Yeah, do you see at the Pentagon now? They got caught watching porn all the time.
That happens every 5 or 6 years, though.
Yeah.
That's
wait, CIA or what?
Pentagon is the Defense Department.
Pentagon, like people working at the Pentagon.
Yeah, apparently there's been a problem with too many people at the DoD. Watching porn when they should be working.
Yeah. What's the limit for too many people?
Where's the line? I think at the Pentagon, one person
of all
is
the
too
places.
many.
Like I'm usually not keen on like fascist internet blocks at the workplace. But I think the Pentagon is one of those places that I'm okay with that. Like, I don't want people in the Pentagon visiting porn sites and getting computers.
What
that
it
have
was
nuclear
research
missile
on
stuff.
Kim Jong Il and his habits.
That's
Well, I mean, if that's legitimate, then I think we're talking about recreational porn.
Okay.
Hey, speaking of things everybody hates, not porn, AT&T and Verizon employees are bashing the iPhone at retail.
Yes, many reports came out that AT&T employees are discouraging customers from buying the iPhone.
I thought this was no. I saw about this the other day. Verizon, I think, were doing
and
this.
Verizon as well. A lot of anecdotal reports. AT&T has
because
come
it's
out
not a
and denied
4G
it.
phone, and they're going to make more money selling you a phone that they can then get you on a 4G data plan.
Well, and also, in
so when
fairness,
the 4G iPhone comes out, that will go away.
it's the time of year that you shouldn't buy an iPhone. Also,
Well, it's also the carriers. The carriers not liking Apple because how much money Apple makes.
well, and the fact
AT&T
that
makes
Apple's
so little money when selling an iPhone compared. I mean, they still make money, but comparing to when they sell.
Yeah,
course,
I mean,
Android phone.
given that it's not an exclusive phone anymore, having the iPhone doesn't really
well, it's a
help
detriment.
you
Yeah,
because
you lose SMS revenue.
yeah.
You lose the ability to bundle things like maps and
Yeah.
video players
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
And they can't charge you any more on an iPhone plan than they can
Yeah.
for a regular one. In fact, they can charge you. They have to charge you less because they can't get you on these expensive 4G plans.
That's exactly it. Also, on the Verizon story, the C block spectrum, the 700 megahertz rules, if you recall a few years ago, the FCC licensed off the old TV network spectrum.
moving to digital.
When we moved to digital, all the old analog spectrum went up for auction, and Verizon bought a significant chunk of it for like $4 billion. I think it was a fairly.
Does that mean
expensive.
if you have an old analog TV and you turn it on, you'll see
there's
4G
nothing-
or what?
No, there's nothing there. It's just static.
Okay.
So the FCC, basically, Verizon was charging people a fee for tethering devices that use the spectrum. So LTE devices use the 700 megahertz spectrum.
Okay.
This
All
is
LTE devices.
All
or-
the Verizon LTE devices use 700 megahertz. Verizon was charging a fee to tether, and the FCC has come out and said, hey, that's against the terms of the licensing contract. The licensing contract said licensees are forbidden to deny, limit, or restrict the ability of their customers to use the device and applications of their choice. So that means...
But hold on, that sounds like government regulation to me. Surely that's bad.
Well, the FCC controls the airwaves.
Yes,
Yeah.
the government.
the horizontal.
How
and
dare the
vertical.
government stop Verizon gouging consumers? Too much regulation.
Gary, are you okay? Are you getting real conservative here? You had a child.
No, I'm being.
Oh,
being
that's
facetious.
facetious.
Doing a conservative parody.
Joey's doing the push-ups again.
Wow.
He's really committed.
20
Every
20
hour.
every hour.
20 every
Sick.
hour. We tried yesterday. I got through
I did 2 hours.
8 sets with Joey,
Wow, you did 8 sets?
and
I could barely lift
and
my
you
arms
did
this morning.
2 half sets.
Did 2 half sets. In fairness, I hadn't done a push-up in about 20 years.
It's very impressive.
Yeah.
That is.
He doesn't go all the way down though.
No, you're supposed to 90-degree angle.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh well, I was going all the way down. My nose was touching.
Well,
I guess
No,
I was
those
doing it
are
wrong.
legit push-ups.
Okay.
I bet you couldn't even do one real push-up.
I probably not right now. Like this morning.
Anytime.
This morning I woke up and I couldn't like lift my
Oh my
arms.
goodness.
It
Yeah.
was bad.
Yeah.
I'm in bad shape. It's well established. So the FCC, for this violation, the FCC fined Verizon. Guess how much money?
I don't know, but probably enough that they don't give a shit.
$1.25 million.
That's teeny tiny.
That is 51 minutes of net income over the year.
So one of the things I learned from the Olympic opening ceremonies that I
Yeah.
thought was fantastic. This is a great little.
So they've made
factoid.
back that fine in the time we've been recording this podcast.
Well,
Just
I
to-
mean, and again, this is kind of a
context.
product of the utter inanity of the NBC coverage. Like, oh, here comes the team from Madagascar. Oh, you may know them from the popular animated movie. Like,
No
what?
way.
Oh no, I'm not.
Oh, yeah, it was
Really?
terrible.
It was insulting.
you may know them from the popular animated movie from DreamWorks.
Yeah, it was basically
starring
like
Jada Pinkett Smith.
it was the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, but dumber.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
And
could've
also,
went
and
still- why couldn't
also
you
they were
still
trying to
win
inject
media?
gravitas into it, but like, oh, here comes a team from Sudan, and they went on about like all the turmoil in the Sudan. It's like, the Olympics are supposed to be about putting that stuff aside and just celebrating the
Yeah.
world coming together in athletic competition. Why are you fucking bringing me down with this shit? But anyway, so interestingly, one thing that when the Finnish team came out, one interesting thing I learned about Finland is that they have a law there that says that traffic fines.
Oh, this is
are
great.
computed as a product for your income. So, like when the CEO of Nokia recently got a speeding ticket, It was like
Yeah.
for $1 million.
Wait, Stephen Elo?
$150,000. It was
Well,
the former,
the idea
former
being
CEO.
is like if we don't, otherwise the speeding ticket means nothing to
Yeah.
him. So that you have to make it hurt.
I like that.
For each
I like this
person.
idea. Make it a percent of the
It's
net
a great.
income.
Why don't we have that everywhere? That's
except,
a great
except
idea.
then the rich people will just get a way to register their cars for their butlers under their butlers' names.
Or
Yeah, well,
Or some tax evasion.
or
They'd
you
find
set it so
some
you
way
don't have
around it.
income. You shovel all your money into shell corporations.
Well,
and
they do that
bullshit like
anyway.
Yeah, of course.
But anyway, it's a great. I thought it was a good idea.
I like that a lot.
I like
That's
it.
a good idea. I think that this AT&T, this Verizon ruling, if Verizon's not going to be able to charge for tethering, eventually they're going to realize that this is a competitive advantage. If tethering is free on Verizon, then I think we'll see them start advertising that. And
Yeah,
that's
they
gonna
won't tell
apply-
you that they've made it free because the government's forced them
Right.
to. They'll just go, "Hey, here's a great new offer from Verizon."
Well,
Yeah.
my iPad has free tethering with $20
right,
a
and
month.
it's an LTE device. Interesting that.
AT&T does not offer that.
So what we'll see is if Verizon adds marketing that they get free tethering, and then eventually, hopefully, AT&T and the others will follow suit.
All right.
Outlook.com launched this week.
Yeah.
It's new. It's not new Hotmail. It's not new Gmail.
Well,
It's
it
new
is-
webmail from Microsoft.
It is
Yeah.
it is technically a new Hotmail. If you have an Hotmail account, you're going to be switched over.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It has a very spiffy Windows 8 Metro type interface.
You
You
can't
know,
say
Metro,
anymore.
you can't say Metro
No.
anymore.
Why not?
There might be some litigation.
Metro style.
Metro hyphen style has always been the code description.
Oh, it's never been officially
Never
called Metro.
called
No,
officially
no,
Metro.
Just marketing language.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
okay.
and the rumors
Well,
are
whatever
that,
that,
Seemed like a real retcon. By
whatever
the way.
that colorful tile type.
colorful tile.
Have you ever heard anybody say Metro style in a meeting before, Norm? With Microsoft, we take a fair number of meetings with Microsoft, and from the Zune back,
Yeah. I've heard Metro style.
they described it as the Metro UI.
No, I've heard Metro style.
Really?
Yeah, those people during meetings are extremely pedantic about the.
So,
the-
is this going to matter much? I mean, a
No.
lot of people like Gmail. It's nice to have another email
No.
option, I guess. It's free. I don't know how good
It's
it is,
free.
but Hotmail's tremendously popular in Europe.
Hotmail is the #1 email service
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah.
So-
In the world.
The things that they did that are nice about the Outlook.com thing are like the problem I have with mail these days isn't that I get a bunch of dick pills and Viagra and that kind of thing. That stuff gets pre-filtered. The problem I have, and this is what they pointed out in the meeting that we took with them a few weeks ago, is that the mail that you signed up for mailing lists and maybe didn't want and now can't get off of is really hard to
Or you are
manage.
too lazy to click the unsubscribe.
Clicking the
bottom.
unsubscribe never works. I do it on all of the stuff that seems legitimate,
Yeah.
and it never goes away.
Yeah, absolutely true.
So you can just block them.
Right. So there's a one-click way to basically filter that stuff out, and it means you never even see it. It goes straight. It just disappears.
But it's more so the offers and newsletters where you kind of like maybe 5% of the time you care.
Yeah.
But you want to see it once and you don't want to have to delete it. So for example,
Fab.
something like fab.com where you want to see it once in a day, but you don't want to actually click and delete. They'll delete all the old ones and only show you the new one.
So can you see yourself using this?
Probably not because
You're committed to Gmail.
The less mail I have in my life, the better I am.
Yeah, and also you don't want to
Fragment your
like that. No,
identity?
you want to have one place where you go get
Yeah.
your email.
So I thought what they should have done is just made it a great interface for
a pop client, basically.
for Gmail.
yeah.
So I'm sure I missed the discussions, but I know that since Will's got his Nexus 7 out on the desk there.
That's Norm.
Norm. I do want to say that that Norm brought that over the other day, and we had an opportunity to play around with it,
Yeah.
and I love it. I think it's a fantastic device.
It's a great size. The weight's nice. I use it all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. The porridge is just right. You know, not too big,
It's
not too small.
It's the baby bear.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Yeah, really like it.
The only real complaint I have after using it for a while is that the brightness. You can't get the brightness low enough.
High enough.
No,
But
low
it's
enough.
either low or
Well,
high enough.
either end.
But
Yeah.
it's great, and I would recommend that to someone looking for a tablet in a heartbeat. And I hope, and we'll be very interested to see, as is rumored, if Apple is going to have their version of this to compete with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm very
10
interested
eggs.
to see. 10 eggs.
Will
Norm
says no.
I'm not going on a 10 egg.
I would put all my
You don't
eggs
have
in,
to-
I
you-
would put all my eggs in that basket. The rumor that's going around is like September 12th they're going to announce the new iPhone and
Yes.
some kind of iPad mini. I think both of those. I think we will see both.
Okay.
I think we'll see both as well.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Alrighty.
Can't wait to upgrade from my damaged iPhone
You must
4S.
love this as someone who has a hard time lifting up that iPad. This must be perfect.
It's not
for
that
you.
I have a hard time lifting up the iPad. It's that as someone who frequently has a baby in their other hand, do you find that carrying the iPad with one hand is too much, or you just not even bother?
Well, I mean, carrying that baby around, I mean, that's like, it's like working out with weights all day. She's nearly 9 pounds now, and I have
Oh
to
my
bounce her
God.
around and lift her up and do all
Yeah,
stuff.
I don't think anyone should have a baby in one hand and a tablet in the other hand.
No,
That's
you
a
shouldn't
good
do
idea.
Yeah, that's not a
Okay.
good idea.
shouldn't do
Reckless.
that.
I don't know.
Yeah, and again, even though you can hold this tablet with one hand, it is still a two-handed device, and that
Yes.
you need to type with the
Yes.
other hand and tap with it because you cannot grip and use with one hand. Like if I was a one-handed person, it'd be very difficult for me to use this.
I do love it, and I'll wait to see what Apple does first, obviously, because I would prefer to stay in their ecosystem because that's kind of where I am already. If they have a compelling iPad version of this, I will get it. If not, if Apple doesn't respond this year, I will buy one of those.
I think even if you want to stay in their ecosystem, the form factor, the weight, and the size at the point and the price at the point where it's talking about 7-inch device, minor differences can be the deciding factor whether you choose one or the other.
The things I miss on that right now are things like messages and photo stream. So it's the real app specific
that's why
stuff.
I want to. There's too much stuff that I like about the Apple devices. I'm comfortable with them.
And the other thing is the game situation on Android is pretty grim.
But we've said we've been saying this for so long. Like, there's got to be. Why isn't there a good Android tablet? Why can no one make one? Google needs to step up and do it themselves, and it's exactly what happened. This is a fantastic, fantastic tablet. I love it. It's probably my favorite device I've seen so far this year.
Well, I'll take that out of the what we're testing section.
I will say
I assumed you'd done it already.
Well, I was saving it for you.
I will say that the app situation in Android, not just the number of apps are out, but their philosophy that there should be one unified app between phone and tablet is a problem. For example, Flipboard, which I like the interface. It's easy to go see news feeds and visually interesting, is the blown up Android version, which is the same as the blown up iOS version.
So is there much, are we seeing much Android tablet app development yet?
There are tablet apps that, like, for example, Comixology looks good on Android tablet, but it's just the blown up phone version. Great for 4.5-inch phones. Not necessarily the best use of space in 7 inches.
It's the blown-up phone apps are definitely better on a 7-inch screen than they are on the 10-inch.
Well, yeah,
iPad
because
screen.
let's be honest, some of those jumbo-sized Android phones aren't really that much smaller. You look at the 4.5-inch screen to a 7-inch screen; it's not that big a deal.
The difference between the Samsung Note and the Nexus 7 isn't massive.
A Note is not much smaller than that.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's very similar.
Yeah.
The big thing I see is that, like, the clever, cute kind of the games that feel very iOS native, like Tiny Wings and stuff like that, just aren't there on Android. Really.
Yeah.
And to a larger point, that means I see this in my head more as a big phone than a small tablet.
Ben Kuchera from Penny Arcade Report tweeted something the other day that I thought was an interesting observation. That we asked it as a question, but there was no answer to it. That there's never been, unless I'm missing something, there's never been a really breakout tablet portable game or app that's come out of the Android world. Think about Angry Birds.
All the Kairosoft games are Android first.
What's that?
All the Kairosoft games.
But they're not breakout. They're not.
I'm talking about the big ones that move the needle. The ones that
there's
really,
not that many that
like
move the needle
Doodle Jump
too.
and all the ones that you end up seeing that really kind of get out.
That's
there.
the sheer number of
Friends.
users. Well, I guess there are plenty of Android users.
Yeah, most of the strategy seems to be iOS first, mainly because it's easier for developers to monetize
I understand that
on
it's
iOS.
kind of a fait accompli. Like iOS, is a combination of not necessarily the biggest, because Android is up there as well, but also the simplest and least fragmented one.
Well,
to deal with.
Also making money.
For example, Telltale responded to a question just last week about is there going to be, when we released Walking Dead for iOS. A lot of people said, well, great, where's the Android version? And so many people were asking that I guess they felt they needed to respond. And they said, we would love to bring The Walking Dead to Android devices. The problem is there's so much hardware fragmentation and there's a big piracy issue on Android.
Right.
And like the App Store, the app market is not in a great state. Like, it's just not.
Well, and they've fixed seems like they've addressed the piracy problem by making encrypted DRM'd apps on Jelly Bean and Newer.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to have the benefit of that, you would have to limit your app to only be available on Jelly Bean or Newer.
Yeah.
Which is not going to be acceptable since there's still millions of people on Gingerbread.
Right.
I think that what we'll see. There's two things about the Nexus 7 that are really interesting. One is I think that the fact that the tablet is selling really well is going to give a massive, massive boost for adoption of Jelly Bean straight out of the bag compared to the way Ice Cream Sandwich rolled out.
One little story that I saw out of the UK that I thought was kind of interesting, where it's been terribly popular as well, is that Google were very much surprised by how many people were wanting to buy the 16 gig.
Yeah.
The 8 gig was not popular. 16 gig was terribly popular. A lot of people assumed, I guess, that the cheaper version would be more popular, and Google would be assuming that the 8-bit
I'm very
gig
surprised
version
as well.
would be viable because cloud services, you don't need that much storage. The fact that they're going for the 16 gig version tells you that people right now still like having stuff stored locally on their device.
Well, for $50, it's a
Blows
safe
my mind.
upsell too.
Yeah.
It's a safe upsell, but you're talking about tax as well. It's $55 really. Same reason why when you bought a phone, iPhone, most people want the 32 gig version, not 16 gig.
Right, and I think
that's
my-
$100 upsell.
Even if you don't end up using it, you don't want to. A lot of people like me don't want to be constantly fretting about worrying that they're going to hit that.
Well,
limit.
so the thing about so I bought the 8 gig tablet. I think Norm did too. I'm not.
I would probably
find
get
myself
the 8
not
gig 'cause
using
I'm not going to
apps.
be storing a lot of stuff on
Yeah.
it.
I mean, if the games on Android were better and I thought I'd be playing a lot of games and downloading them, it would be a different situation.
Well, it's not your
but
only
I'm still
device
playing
either.
games on iPad.
Yeah, you have iPhone, iPad, and this tablet. It's complementary.
I mean, if you travel a lot and aren't going to be on internet, then it makes sense to buy the bigger one. But even at that point, 16 gigs isn't really big enough to store a bunch of high def movies. I mean, you can get 3 high def movies on there, 4 high def movies.
I think
Yeah.
over
and some of them
time,
for other stuff.
the things people are going to miss most on the Nexus 7, and I've noticed this a little bit from things I miss, is cellular. No cellular connection or
Yeah.
option.
I
Walking down the
imagine they'll
street,
come out with an option for that in a later revision.
it's going to be that chip takes money and
It'll be
space.
next year, yeah. I mean, because the battery's already not awesome. It's not bad, but it's not great.
And something that I don't use a front camera at all. I have maybe once or twice for video chat and also taking pictures for like a profile icon.
Yeah.
But a back camera, which you might use, for example, to take photos in Evernote, because it's as much. I read a review of Nexus 7 where the guy made a good point that cameras on phones and tablets now are as much a data entry
Scanner.
scanner as they are for taking photos. That not being on Nexus 7 is something else.
Yeah, it's not perfect. I mean, but for a first generation device, it's one of the most solid devices I've seen. Like compare that to the Fire, which it turned out to be a real mess in many ways.
Oh yeah, the Fire was the least common denominator. It was cheap hardware. This is a dramatically different product.
And it's so easy to imagine this product being so crappy if ASUS had just released it with as an ASUS
Transformer
tablet.
skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the unfortunate thing about this device is it really calls into sharp relief the failures of the other Android tablets.
It's been embarrassing.
And honestly, I think the idea of a 10-inch 16:9 tablet is something especially since because of the problem with oversized phone apps, I'm really not interested in. I don't want oversized phone apps blown up to 10 inches. But at 7, it works great.
And this is why I think it behooves companies like Microsoft and Google to get out there and do the flagship first party device that sets the standard for it. Like, it's not a problem for Apple because only Apple makes Apple devices, but for Google and Microsoft, who license their technology out, many other people will be making Windows tablets, and many people make Android tablets. Google needs to say, here's the fucking baseline. Yours needs to be at least this good, otherwise you've got no chance.
Right.
People will just buy ours. So it's like the rising tide lifts all boats.
It's kind of like the Olympics. When you're releasing products and you're competing against the best industrial designers in the world and best software designers in the world, if you can't come close to that, then why even bother?
You're saying with fourth place shouldn't bother in the Olympics?
I'd say fourth place is first loser.
A lot of companies have been able to get by with crappy Android tablets because a starving man will eat shit. And
wow.
And people out there, like the real Android fans that have an Android tablet, will have been forced to settle for a substandard product. That's all there is. Now that this is here, everyone has to raise their game, and I think that's great.
True. That's true.
Can we say the same thing about Surface and Microsoft tablets?
That was the point I was going to make about Microsoft as well. That the Surface, when that was announced, a lot of people said, "Wow, now the other tablet manufacturers, the OEM guys, are probably kind of pissed off that it forces them that they can't get away with a shitty product now. They have to match at least this."
I don't think anyone wants to make a shitty product. People want to sell products. They just need.
Nobody sits around and says, "Hey, let's make a shitty product." But it just sort of happens. And
Sort of happens.
And part of the reason why it's allowed to happen is they can get lazy because the competition, they have to worry about the competition not being there.
But the competition has been Apple the whole time.
But a lot of the problem is that instead of they say, okay, we're not going to bother competing with Apple. What do we have to do to have the best specs on the box at Best Buy? And putting the best specs on the box at Best Buy, focusing on that above all else, is a surefire way to make a terrible product.
Yes.
Yeah. 16 gigs of storage, 1 gig of RAM.
Yeah. Like the revolution of Apple isn't, hey, we need to make products that look cool or whatever. It's that, hey, we need to make products that the users are excited to use every single day through the entire time that they have that product, not just that they're excited to buy because it has the best numbers.
That's why
on the
they
shelf
have
at Best
retail.
Buy. Yeah,
because they don't need Best Buy.
that's exactly it.
What do you think? What did you think of those
Genius
Mac
ads?
Genius
I
ads
think they're
that started
bad.
running during the Olympics?
I don't like them.
I saw them live first before I read about them, and the reaction to everyone in the room was a groan.
It reminded me of the Dell kid. Dude, get a Dell.
I think I was kind of torn on them because I think the idea of the ads, the message they want to get across, which is, hey, look, one of the really big selling points, one of the big advantages of being a Mac user is that if something breaks or you're having trouble, There are stores all over the place where you can go and get real help from an expert in a way that's much harder to do.
That they're not going to try to peddle you or upsell you or whatever.
Right.
It was less about the product than
but
about
I don't
the
think
service.
these ads were. I think that is a great message and a terrific selling point that they haven't got over enough. I don't think these ads were necessarily the strongest way to communicate that.
The big problem with these ads is that the kid that they have playing the genius isn't.
No. The framing of the ad of the landing of a plane and how quickly, it was all seemed very unrealistic.
For what it's worth, I think they're better than the celebrity Siri ads that are lies.
Oh, I think those are terrible too. The
The funny thing is the one where the guy wakes him up in the middle of the night and he wants to know how to send photo cards because he just had a baby.
Yeah.
Spoke to me bizarrely because that was exactly my experience. The first week after the baby was born, that's all I did was use that cards app to send cards to people.
Those cards turned out great.
Those letterpress cards. It's a great service. You can do.
I wish they had more designs.
Yeah,
because like right now it's kind of like the iMovie thing where this came from.
But it's an amazing build. You do the card right in the app. It gets mailed right from the app, and you even get a push notification to tell you when it's being delivered.
Yeah. And also the envelope looks like it's real.
Yeah, and it's a really nice card. It's a very professionally produced, beautiful looking card.
It's not something you print out at Kinko's.
Yeah, I use it a lot now for.
I used it for emergency Christmas cards when I realized we forgot someone last year.
Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah.
You were saying, Norm, Siri ads.
Anyone who's used Siri knows those ads are bad and fake. Like if you're in a New York taxi cab, you could not do any of those things.
It's not even that they're fake; it's that they are a lie. They are all a lie.
I'm not a fan of Siri overall, but I've actually had a couple of good experiences with it lately, and the dictation in Mountain Lion is also really good. I've had great experience with that.
So, did you show him the voice search stuff on the Nexus?
Yeah, and it didn't work.
Oh, well.
Didn't work the first time. Worked the second time.
Yeah.
Where's near Starbucks?
I do like the Google Norm.
Google
thing.
Now.
Google Now.
Google Norm.
I call
Google
it Google Norm.
Yeah.
It's like here's Google as Norm would want.
Norm's Google.
Here's where you are, and they should do one Google.
I wish there were more cards. Like after using that for a while, the cards that it has do not overlap with my interests and my needs.
But it's a good idea.
It is a
in
good
principle.
idea.
I can see that
you want
being the
movie
basis
tickets.
of something interesting.
Movie showtimes.
I want movie tickets and I want my to-do list.
Right. If you search a movie that Google through its database knows is in theaters, you want the card to show local showtimes.
Yeah. Well, what I want is kind of the passbook thing that's coming to iOS 6, where the app ties into that, and you like it's
location,
a whole holistic.
It's all database, data driven, right? Search data, location based data.
It's dumb that that doesn't look at my calendar. Frankly, the Google Now, because it should look at my calendar and say, "Oh, okay, your next appointment is this," and sometimes it pops up with that stuff, but it doesn't
it's 2 miles away. Would you like me to call an Uber cab for you?
Yeah. That kind of thing would be awesome.
Yeah.
Or it's near 5 p.m. Here are some happy hour deals around your area.
Let's talk about that Pseudo-Bashi Karatas mech. Can we talk about that for a minute?
Sure. People in Japan made a mech.
Right. Yeah. It has an iPhone remote, or like a very small person can get into the cockpit and drive it around like a Gundam.
Okay.
It's a thing. It's $1.35 million if you want to buy one. They're selling them.
Oh, they're actually
12 feet tall or 14 feet tall or something like that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I thought that was neat. It's a good video. You should watch the video.
There's video of it? All right. I'll check that out.
Yeah. This is now going to be like Gary's roundup of what happened on the internet.
Yeah, all the
week.
stuff that I don't get to. I'm actually pretty up to date on internet bullshit. It's TV and movies and other stuff I'm kind of behind.
Dark Knight Rises is pretty good. You should go see that.
At some point, I'm sure I will go and see it.
If you want to go bust out again, I'd go. I want to see it in IMAX.
It's not.
I know.
It's not that easy.
I understand.
We'll figure it out at some point.
Are there movie theaters with baby care?
No, there are
you
not.
You can't have baby care for a month-old baby.
That's not how it works.
Yeah. You can just put them in the cage.
And honestly, we're not even if those kind of options existed, we're not at the point where we're comfortable leaving the baby with someone else. It's hard to kind of separate yourself.
I can imagine.
There's an emotional component to it as well.
Commodore 64 is 30 this week.
I was very excited about this.
I think you're probably the only person here that ever used a Commodore 64.
Maybe so, because it was vastly more popular in the UK than it was in the US. Even though it was a thing here, it was really it was a much bigger deal.
They were popular here, but they were really expensive.
Yeah.
For I just remember thinking, oh yeah, the rich kids have the Commodores.
Yeah, and it was always kind of second fiddle to the Apple II. The Apple II was more popular here, I think.
So what were the games you could play in the Commodore?
We had vast libraries of fantastic games, but they're very, very different to the console games. But I made this point this week. I think part of the reason why the UK has and continues to have such a terrific and vibrant and very talented development scene, and why so many of the great game developers came out of the UK, is that while people in America were more commonly playing
Atari 2600.
Well, yeah, and the NES and the Sega Master System and that stuff. I mean, those great games. That's all they would close boxes. All you could do with them. Whereas in the UK, the Commodore 64 and the Spectrum, the two big systems, you could play all those great games.
Yeah.
But you could also make your own. It was a full computer with a QWERTY keyboard and BASIC built in, and you could make your own games.
We had a TI-99/4A, which you had a version of BASIC that you could build your own games, and you used to get magazines. Like the way you learned how to write BASIC programs was by buying a magazine. It'd have a couple of games in the back that were just you'd have to type in.
Yeah, what we call type-in listings. Yeah.
And then you would learn. I guess
thousands of lines of code.
Oh my God.
Copying from a magazine.
You'd spend hours and hours and hours and hours copying them in line by line, and then the game that would result would be really shitty.
The shittiest version
you
of
realize
Pac-Man
just how much
ever.
code is required to create even the most basic game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. Make the kids work for it.
Well, and the thing about it was, like on my TI, you had probably had a disk drive for your Commodore. But my
I had
TI,
a cassette deck at first, and then later on I got the disc drive.
the cassette deck was the worst way ever to save anything.
Oh my God.
Because it's so often, like you would have to record it 3 times because it would fuck up and you would lose everything that you typed in.
I mean, and
it was a
what
disaster.
eventually, I mean, I played on the Commodore 64 with the cassette drive, and I have fond memories of pressing play and the screechy sound and everything.
Sounded like a modem.
So it took all day for games to load. But what forced me to get it is eventually there were a lot of games that were only available for the disk drive because the way that they access data and so forth, it required a disk drive. And I eventually got it. And it was, oh my God, it was like the scales were lifted. The first time I put like that 5 1/4 inch floppy in that drive and played, I think Winter Games was the first game.
And those discs were expensive. Those drives were expensive. The discs were expensive. People don't think about it, but like the disc drives for the TIs were $400 or $500 if I recall.
Yeah,
and I'm sure the Commodores
that's
were
80s
similarly
money.
priced. Yeah,
but
real money.
It was a fantastic computer, and it really does. The computers that you could actually kind of get in and get into the guts of them and play around with BASIC and learn different things. They fired your imagination up in the way that the console systems didn't.
Yeah,
and I mean that the indie. We talk about the indie scene now and how people can make games and put them on Steam and iOS, and that's terrific. But like. We did used to have that in the 80s when we had these open systems, and it kind of went away for a while when consoles became popular, and now it's back again.
Well,
like I mean, like Notch is like a great example, and a lot of the great iOS developers. One guy can make a game. For a long time, it wasn't like that. In the 80s, one guy could sit in a bedroom and make a game that would be
bunches
around
of
the
games.
world.
Like Jeff Mintner made bazillion games.
Jeff Minter and Matthew Smith and Andrew Braybrook and all these guys. And some of them are still going strong today. But then when the consoles came along, especially now in this day and age, you need these vast Hollywood studio type teams to make video games. But now with Steam and iOS and stuff, it can be back to one guy just with a great idea and a bit of gumption making a great game.
It's funny, we were talking about that last night on IRC, and the list of games that started out as indie games or were released and published as indie games in this generation. If I was going down my list of top 15, 20 games, probably 60-70% of them are literally things that I paid $15 for and either downloaded on the Xbox or
You're a
Steam
different audience, though.
Jordan Mechner is a great.
I'm old.
Jordan Mechner is a great example. He made Karateka and Prince of Persia. That was one guy with an Apple II.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of This World was the same way. I mean, all those games were like that. It was amazing.
It's actually what I wanted to do. I wanted to make games first, and I bought a book on machine code.
Yeah.
Or C++
How'd that go for
assembly
you?
language. I got 2 pages in. I was like, "Fuck this! I can't. I can't make games. I'll just criticize them.
Math
instead.
is
That's
hard.
much easier.
Yeah, it's easier to destroy than build.
Much easier to criticize the work of others than create your own."
Steam updated their subscriber agreements, and now if you agree to the Steam subscriber agreement, you can't join a class action suit against Valve. We talked about this earlier when Sony added similar language to their agreement. I think Microsoft did for the Xbox as well. It all comes down from a Supreme Court decision that basically said, yes, you can amend your agreement to not allow people to join class actions.
So you can basically indemnify yourself against class action lawsuits?
Pretty much, yeah. Thanks, Obama.
That doesn't sound great.
Supreme Court. No, it's not a good thing. The Sony one had an opt-out clause, so if you sent a letter to them, then you could say, "Yeah, I want to opt out of this option." The Steam agreement doesn't have that as an option.
Oh, that doesn't sound very, very Valve-like.
Well, if they're I mean, class action is different from other suits.
You can still sue them.
Yeah, you can sue them if they did something specific against you.
I think
but you can't join in the crowd.
I want to think that the reasoning behind this is that class action suits are damaging to the country. The way they're structured now.
There's a lot of frivolous lawsuits, and like it's one thing for like if a drug company like kills people.
Yeah.
But like what am I going to do
if Valve loses my save
games?
games?
Join a class action lawsuit because I don't like the latest rocket launcher and get a 30 cent check 5 years from now.
The end of Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nexus Q. Remember the orb thing?
Yeah,
it's on hold.
Yeah, of course, because it was.
How do we know it was terrible? We never saw it. It just looked dumb.
It was just a bad idea. It was a bad idea in concept. It was how well engineered it was. It was a bad idea.
So did they shipped some,
People have them.
They gave them to people.
They
at
are
I/O, but
still,
they didn't ship the
shipping them
products?
to developers to continue kind of the beta testing process. But much like Google TV, it's all just been shelved because they realized.
Well,
it was
Google TV
rubbish.
No,
is
Google
back.
TV they just updated and released
it's
a new
back
version.
again.
while
Google
you're
TV
gone.
But no, but
2.0.
for a while they suspended
yes.
it all because they knew it was
Yes, they
terrible.
told
took a break.
Logitech to
Yeah.
do not show Google
Time
TV
out, do over.
at CES.
You didn't see anything.
Sony had Google TV in their booth that year.
So Sony still has Google TV.
We talked about the Apple event rumors. September 12th is the date, I think.
September 12th, the bigger rumor is that the product's actually in our hands 21st.
Yeah.
So 10 days.
So
9 days.
9 days.
That makes sense.
Getting ready.
What-
Get
what-
ready. Get
what-
ready for another midnight refresh session. We try to get those.
You know what?
pre-orders in.
This is one to wait in line for.
Fuck
You
no,
think?
Never.
I-
will.
Why?
This is an overnight.
Why?
You're being trained right now, Gary, to not sleep anyway.
That's true.
This is an overnight.
You're our
I
man.
can't take the baby with me into an overnight line though.
Well, no, you don't have to take the baby.
Norm
but
can take care of the baby. You
But,
can
no,
get
but,
in the
no,
line.
no, but I could do an overnight.
You could do
product
one.
camp out standing on my fucking head at this point.
Exactly.
there you go.
I think
it would be a day off
if-
for you. Even.
if those not mock-ups, but the leaked parts and prove to be true, this is going to be a big refresh of the iPhone.
new
I
connector,
don't, but I
all
don't,
that stuff.
apart from the new connector and it being slightly longer, I don't really know what's
The bigger
interesting
screen, the
about it yet.
LTE,
LTE
thinner.
I know, but like, where's the kind of the secret ingredient factor? Like, where's the thing that we haven't anticipated? You know?
Don't
Well, I don't
worry.
think there's anything we haven't anticipated until you put it in our hands.
One
and
more thing.
realize, oh, that's a little different.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, of course, I'll get it because we always get them, and I don't know if I need to stand in line. I like just getting the delivery the next morning.
The FedEx guy coming on that day is one of the happiest. Of course, it always comes at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
The waiting is the
Norm can wait in
worst.
line. I'll get the FedEx truck to my house. You can get the FedEx truck to your house. Civilized.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
come
the way
out
to
and
do
see
it.
you at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, last year, of course, remember we were doing Oktobercast when they came in.
Yeah, Melissa
that's
handed,
right.
handed off the iPhone 4S.
Yeah, it was very
That's
That's
exciting.
Siri live on air.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Um,
We
Do
don't
you remember
know.
how long ago it seems that we were going like, oh, Siri, I'm horny. Like, that was only a year ago.
Less than a year ago.
What idiots we were.
yeah.
I think we could say that about anything we did 6 months ago.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about Zynga? Their stock's imploding.
They're our
There's
new
insider
neighbors.
training. They're down the street from us.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
see
I
their
I see a
people
lot.
at
I'm
lunch.
going
I'm
to
glad to
lunch
see they're
and
going into
parking
real
and-
world gambling,
Really?
real money gambling. Yeah,
What?
apparently that's how they're going to turn their fortunes around.
Oh my God! What
Yeah.
a disaster.
Yeah.
Okay, so skip that. Microsoft announced a couple of new bits of hardware that are tied to Windows 8. They have this mouse. We saw it. It looks ridiculous. It looks like a wedge of cheese.
It's a wedge.
It's about
wedge touch mouse.
It's about 2.5 inches long, about 2.5 inches wide. It looks like a square triangle.
What
a
does it do?
square triangle.
It's like a rectangular wedge.
It looks like a children's
that
toy.
goes
You slot
from
into
here
a
forward.
block.
Oh, it's a mouse?
It's a mouse.
Okay.
It's tiny.
I've never really liked Microsoft makes solid regular mice, but I've never liked whenever they try to do like a high end concept mouse. I've never
Which
never
is
thought
all
they
they
worked.
really do now.
Yeah, like that Arc mouse. I know Norm likes it, but
Yeah,
I
I'm
thought
not
it
a
was
fan
horrible.
of it. I'm not a fan of it
I
either.
love the Arc mouse.
Unusable.
What do you
Looks
think about
really cool.
Gabe Newell and Notch and a bunch of people saying they think Windows 8 is going to be catastrophic? for
I
the
think
Windows
Notch
8
did not
Windows gaming
say
scene?
Windows 8 is going to be catastrophic.
Gabe did.
Gabe
did.
absolutely did, but he's competing against Windows with the Valve Store.
Here's the thing. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, so I apologize for repeating, but you weren't here. I've been using Windows 8 for a long time. The new start menu stuff and all the Metro style business is completely unobtrusive until you need to find something that's buried in it and you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Or until you need to launch a program and then you have to see it.
I haven't used the start menu for launching programs in years. I hit the start button and type the first 3 letters and then hit enter. I can spend 2 weeks using Windows 8 and never see the start menu. Really?
Start screen.
Start screen. Yeah.
Also, the store was not populated. Has not been
But
populated.
I think this
so
was
you don't
more
know
It
what
is now.
I think
It's
this was
starting to
more
get
to do with the
populated.
idea of Windows kind of moving towards more
Right.
of a walled garden type play system.
I think that's what he thinks is going to happen. I don't know that that's realistic. I mean, all this stuff is cyclical, and eventually there'll be a reason to not be in the walled garden anymore, and
Yeah.
it'll work itself out.
What else?
it's $30,
Yeah, it's $40.
$40.
Yeah, it's a
I like
$40
my Magic
upgrade.
Mouse. I know many people don't, but I like it.
Oh no, we were talking about Windows 8 being $40. The mouse is like $60, I think. The wedge mouse.
Mouse is $70. Keyboard's $80.
Right, that's right.
Huh.
The bigger thing is
Can I
Microsoft
see
hardware.
pictures of these somewhere?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're on the
site.
site.
Alright.
So
And these are
Microsoft
like somehow
hardware.
like designed for Windows 8 specifically.
Yeah, like their
They
new
have a
keyboards
Windows-
have the Windows 8 buttons and shortcuts for charms and stuff like that. The point is that Microsoft doesn't take hardware seriously, and even though Surface might make it seem like Microsoft takes hardware seriously, they don't have the same distribution chain, supply chain stuff that Apple does. And so Like Zune HD, I thought was really good, but Zune HD was not in every store.
Well, no, but when you're talking about like mice and keyboards, anytime I go to Office Depot or Best Buy, they're all over them. They're everywhere.
But the thing is,
pocket change.
Yeah, it's not a big margin business.
Yeah.
The last thing is Curiosity Rover lands in, I think, 4 days, 5 days.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
6th.
And isn't it great that Mattel is making a Hot Wheels Curiosity Rover? That's like I can see myself buying that.
Have you downloaded that Xbox game?
I'm gonna see a replica of the Curiosity Rover.
I didn't know there was an Xbox game.
Take pictures.
Yeah, I want to see. Bring my camera.
It always blows my mind when they land those things on other planets. I mean,
on other planets.
Yes, on other planets.
There's an Xbox game.
The fact that we've been on Venus with robots.
They don't last very long.
We have photographs.
There have been a very small number of probes to Venus because it's a very hostile environment.
We've had
high pressure
robots on
corrosive.
Asteroids, touch asteroids.
So when is the date? Because I want to make sure I want to watch
Sunday.
the live stream. Sunday, perfect. Okay.
They're doing the sky crane thing. We've talked about this before. There's a video. If you Google 7 minutes of terror, it's the thing that comes up.
Wait, so there's video of it actually landing?
Well, of the simulation.
So it's not.
I'm saying there won't be video of it actually landing.
Exactly.
How would they do that?
Yeah, there's no video of of the event.
Right. It's just like there's no video. If you went back and watched the things that Jason Kotke posted a few weeks ago of the moon landing retiming, CBS actually had models made and did a fake replicated landing of the
maybe
lunar
that's
lander.
what everyone's saying.
I'm sure there'll be all sorts of cool CGI animations and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's not as interesting as actual photos, though.
So basically, the way it's going to work is it comes down to a certain speed. The sky crane thing fires its rockets. It lowers the rover from there, and then the rover drives off of the landing pad once the rocket crane has gotten down to touch the ground. And then the rocket crane flies away and crashes. It's bananas.
I literally cannot even begin to comprehend how smart you have to be to make that shit work.
Well, because the thing is, it's too big a rover to do the balloon thing that they did for Spirit and Spirit and Opportunity. Spirit and Opportunity. So this is the new crazy way of landing. Of course, they're not going to know until 20 minutes after it's already happened.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
So
that I think,
and it all does it on remote control because the time lag between Earth and Mars is such that you
talk about
can't
20-minute lag.
Yeah. So that's happening this Sunday. You should definitely check that out.
And then later this year is Felix Baumgartner's Jump, Stratos Jump.
The Red Bull
sponsored
parachuting from space.
Well. Yes, parachuting, but skydiving from the stratosphere.
Oh, like in Star Trek.
Pretty much.
Just like in Star Trek, with a super high-tech suit, just like in Star Trek.
Does he have an unfoldable sword?
I don't think he's going to carry a sword with him.
Awesome.
His goal is to break the sound barrier.
Wow.
In a spacesuit.
In a suit.
Seems like the kind of,
Is this a rich guy or what?
No, he's
crazy.
He's a diver. They've been doing tests for a year, and they have 15 red Epic cameras shooting it. And they'll
make like an IMAX movie out of it or something.
They'll do some awesome 4K video, and you can watch it live streamed.
And when is this?
They haven't set a specific date yet. Later this year.
It depends. There's weather.
All the tests are going well.
So what does he jump from?
A balloon.
They build a capsule. Like it looks like a space capsule. Same company that makes the space capsules.
Okay.
Built like an Elon Musk style capsule. SpaceX style, and then with balloons. Lifted all the way up
to like 120,000 feet.
It floats up on balloons. There's no rocket launch or anything.
No.
Okay,
floats up.
Weather balloons can go into the stratosphere.
Okay. What's amazing is that he's breaking the record of the guy who did it 50 years ago with basically a weather balloon. And like a big like BioShock type suit.
The guy who did it 50 years ago also used a weather balloon, just to be clear.
Yeah,
that's pretty great.
Yeah, it's not like you jump out of a supersonic jet and then
No.
There's not much.
So how
stuff.
does this guy get to do it? Like, what's his qualification? Is he like
he is a professional,
an actual daredevil kind of guy? Okay,
professional skydiver. Dude.
All right. Well, that sounds great.
He's crazy enough to try.
Yep.
Let's play some music.
And he drinks a lot of Red Bull.
You'd need to, I would think.
How long is it going to take him to go from the stratosphere down? Is he going to have to pee on the way down?
No, it's not that long. It's
like 10 minutes.
Several minutes. Yeah.
It's a long time to fall.
Yes, it is.
Just as long as it's not like the equivalent like those Flugtag events where they all just kind of belly flop into the lake.
I love Flugtag. Flugtag is the dumbest thing ever.
Any
but
of those
awesome.
actually ever fly, or is it all just comedy? Just
a
crashes?
couple of people can kind of glide a little bit,
right?
Like,
but the whole point is they usually just kind of fall off the ramp into the water.
It's all for the video montage.
People, there's a fair amount of alcohol involved usually.
Yeah, Red Bull.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
Jaeger and the Red Bull.
Joke.
Yeah, drunkest I've gotten. It's my LA drink, vodka Red Bulls. It's not a good idea. Let's play music and talk about what we were testing. Meat grinder. I've been grinding my own meat.
I don't think this is the appropriate forum for that kind of discussion.
Hamburger, Gary. Hamburger.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
You posted some pictures of some salmon burgers the other day that I thought
Yeah.
was really good. Where did you get those buns?
Those come from Whole Foods.
They
They
look good.
Of course they did.
they sell. Well, it's the only place I can find them
Okay.
because I've looked at other places and nobody fucking has them. They're brioche buns.
I've said
And
it before many times. It's with a burger. It's the bun is the most underrated component.
Absolutely.
Always. It's make or break the good bun.
So the thing about these brioche buns is they have to travel kind of a long way. So the small ones, you want to get the slider size.
Okay.
Because the full size are too stale inside. And you toast them. You always toast them.
Of course.
So you cut them at about half. And the neat thing about the brioche is because it's such an oily, greasy bread,
Wait. You're talking about you buy a roll,
hard
basically.
roll, a brioche roll.
Okay. Small
It's slider size.
slider-sized roll.
Uh-huh.
Not a bun yet until you slice it in half.
Slice it in half.
Then it becomes a
Still
bun.
a bun.
Then you toast it.
I put it on the grill. I
you
usually
don't use a toaster oven or anything, or an oven.
No, I make
Put
it
it on the grill.
I put it on the grill. So I put it on the oily part of the grill.
Peasant are you?
No.
Yeah.
Toasting it in a toaster oven.
Toaster oven?
Who
Who
the
uses
fuck has a
toaster?
toaster oven?
What do you slap your government cheese on it and then watch some reality shows? You fucking
Right. Enjoy real world, chud. You put it on the part of the grill that had the grease from the hamburgers,
Yeah.
and that gives it just enough to brown up nicely.
All right.
I've made prime rib inside a toaster oven.
Can we not do this so much because I'm really hungry?
Oh, I'm
It's not
sorry.
it's not gonna go well for me.
What sauce do you slather over your
No,
salmon
we're not
burgers?
doing it.
Oh,
I don't want to hear about Chipotle,
Oh.
delicious mustards. Oh, by the way, I bought some. I cannot stand Guy Fieri
Yeah.
for reasons which I think are pretty self-evident.
Hold on. Guy Fieri is the guy with white hair.
Yes.
Yes.
On Food Network with the
But
Lamborghinis.
but he has a range of sauces which I saw at my local
Oh,
market,
boy.
and he makes
How
a hu-
quickly?
he
He
has
makes a
range.
habanero mustard wing dipping sauce, and you know what? It's pretty good. I bought it. I said,
Does it have a dumb name?
I said it's
What's
it's
it
called Guy
called?
Fieri's habanero mustard wing sauce.
Oh, okay, so it's not like wing ding dipping sauce
It's
or
not like
anything like
crazy
that?
kicking, finger licking, 5-alarm sauce
Right.
and nonsense like that.
Okay.
But I showed it to Leo. I said, look, I hate Guy Fieri, but I really want to try this sauce. He said, like, can we put a sticker over his face or something? And I said, sure, let's do that.
So the unfortunate thing about Guy Fieri is the reasons are evident.
Yes.
But the places that I've been that he's had on that show, the diners, drive-ins, and dives,
yeah.
are generally really good.
Well, the burger place down on Mission, which actually, since you mentioned it, they grind their own meat.
Which
as
is the
well.
burger place on Mission?
It's way down on Mission. I forget the name of it now. I'll find it later and send you the link. Leah knows what it is. It's a great place.
I'm on a burger quest.
And you can watch them in the window. They're grinding
Yeah.
all their meat with the mechanical
grinder,
meat
yeah.
grinder.
Huh.
And they make all their patties right there fresh, and it's a
Yeah.
really good
Well,
burgers.
he also the barbecue place, the Gorilla Barbecue. by your
that was a
house.
diners, drive-ins,
We'll go
and
there.
dives.
We'll go there. And on the front it says like as featured on
of
blah
course.
blah blah.
I
You
went-
know.
by the way, I went to Lark Creek.
Oh,
and
what,
I-
did
I
you
had-
did you have a steak burger?
Well, they're all steak burgers. Any burger there is a steak burger.
Right.
I didn't have the barbecue one because that was
cowboy.
only lunch.
Yeah.
I had their the fancy dinner one, which was the truffle oil and the,
Oh, it's fancy than what I had.
brie
Okay.
and truffles.
And how did you like it?
a $25 burger.
Yeah, it was a good burger. That's a good place. And there's even a Lark Creek. I discovered this at SFO Terminal 2, right next to the Pinkberry.
No way.
Oh my God! Have you tried the peanut butter Pinkberry now?
Peanut butter.
I did it. I
Pinkberry's
flew
great.
in and out of SFO the other day, there and back in a day, and I did a Pinkberry in and out.
They don't do the crepe bits anymore, though.
No, but they have chocolate covered pretzels, which are better.
I'm not.
Which
You know
are
what?
better.
I get them to crumble up the waffle cones. It's
you?
a
Wow,
good
you make 'em extra
approximation.
teeth.
I
Also,
do.
you
So
have to
my
tip
new
if you do that.
favorite thing is chocolate covered pretzels,
Okay.
toasted almonds, and that.
Peanut butter.
And you got to pay an extra 50 cents for it, but like the crunchy chocolate syrup sauce,
That
has
stuff's
little
great.
crunchy bits in
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Oh,
on a peanut butter.
on peanut butter.
I bought a liquid nitrogen doer yesterday.
A what?
Liquid nitrogen, a thing to buy and contain liquid nitrogen.
Yeah, what are you gonna do with that?
Make ice cream and freeze shit.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah. I after seeing the Modernist videos last week, because it'd been a while since we were up there, I decided it was time to get liquid nitrogen into my house.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll
not?
store it for like 20 days,
Yeah.
so I can have liquid nitrogen just around.
What happens if you have extra at the end of 20 days? What do you do with that?
Well, it goes away. It
It
evaporates.
just evaporates.
It goes straight to air.
Mm.
Mountain lion. Let's talk about mountain lion.
I
a
love
little
it.
bit. So we did a quick look. We talked about it a little bit last week, but the thing that you said on Twitter is true. It's in the same way that lion was a whole bunch of little tiny changes that just made everything worse. Mountain lion is a whole bunch of little tiny changes that have dramatically improved the OS.
Yeah, and I think there's two components to it. One is most people agree that it is even if you take the features out of it, it's a great performance upgrade.
I think that's only because Lion was a performance degrade.
Maybe so.
Because Snow Leopard was it's real fast.
I have not noticed a big performance difference.
I have, especially.
Well, also
you also got a brand new computer.
Well, no, I'm talking about on my iMac. It's on my iMac as well, which is 2009
okay.
iMac. So I've noticed a really good improvement. And you know, and again, so far as the features go, I think most people agree that for $20 you can't really go wrong. But some people like the feature, some people don't. It really is. Each update is like, well, are these going to be features that appeal to each individual user? And as it so happens, things like notification center, notifications built into everything, iCloud synchronization of apps and documents and notes, and Twitter integration, sharing baked into the OS at every level. That's all the stuff that I want and like, and so this was a great update for me.
Now, so I have had some problems with the iCloud integration, specifically with iWork stuff. Somehow, every time I open an iWork document and it tries to save it in iCloud, it sounds really dumb saying all the stuff that starts with I. Basically, every time I open it, I immediately get save conflicts with across all the machines that I have iCloud installed on.
Yeah,
I haven't figured out how to fix it yet. I think it's probably because the Windows version of iCloud hasn't been updated lately. But it means that stuff has basically been unusable for me for the last few days.
One simple feature that I really like is the iCloud integration of notes. So, like, if I'm going on a shopping trip, I can quickly on my iMac before I leave, quickly open up a note, tap in some shopping list items, and I know it's gonna be on my phone.
Same thing for
Same
reminders.
with reminders.
Yeah,
Exactly.
reminders and shared reminders, because Leah and I now have shared iCal calendars. She can make a little notification, and I'll get reminded of when it comes around.
It makes Siri that much more useful.
Yes.
The one thing I don't understand is why you can't send a reminder to someone else, like a reminder, not a calendar reminder. Like, why can't I say, hey, remind Norm to pick this up when he leaves the house?
If you're on a shared calendar, you can.
But then it's
They do
calendar
have shared
meeting, not a reminder.
No, they have shared reminders as well.
Really?
Yes, but you have to set up the sharing first.
And that has to be an iCloud calendar, I bet, not a Google calendar.
And you can say send a reminder. It would be for you in your calendar as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well. So Mountain Lion, pretty good.
Yeah, really good. Dictation work, like I said earlier, dictation works great as well. I tried it out a few times, and it's when
would you actually use that?
When you have a baby and you can't type, brilliant.
All those Facebook posts.
Yes.
Let your voice be your
This
passport.
is how my Twitter activity has not lessened, because it's actually I've voice dictated a lot.
You've been back on the Google Plus lately too.
I'm kind of sick of Google Plus, but it's still just there.
There's this
And I
pressure.
still somehow have 1 million followers on it, so I may as well use it as a platform, I guess.
You should start selling.
I use
stuff.
it for all my, leftist commie political posts and stuff like that.
The Gary. There you go. Let's see. I've been testing the Wi-Fi backpack for GoPros. We have that on right now. I bought it thinking that you're going to be able to do the thing that they promised at CES, where you can hook up your iPad to the Wi-Fi and then get a live stream, but the apps for Android and iOS aren't ready yet.
They announced it at CES.
Yeah,
we talked with them, shot a video at CES at the Pepcom event about it. They said the app weren't ready yet. And then we saw them again at NAB.
Yeah.
And they said the product is now for sale.
Yeah.
But the apps aren't ready. And now a few months later, still not ready.
So basically, we'll do a quick look of it when the apps are ready. But basically, all that does is give you the ability to stop and record and change modes from this little remote.
Yeah,
it's up
which
there.
if you're skiing down a mountainside being chased by an avalanche,
if it's on your helmet,
extreme users of this camera probably are. It's great to have.
The nice thing about these cameras is they're pretty good video quality and they're not too expensive.
That's what I was amazed by.
Even
Even in non-extreme conditions like this, where we're just basically sitting around. I watched last week's video podcast and I was immediately struck by, wow, the video quality seems so much better than usual. And it's because of these GoPro cameras.
It's because of these GoPros. It also took like 10 hours to compress and upload. So it was a little bit of a drag.
But very good quality.
Turned out good. Let's see. A couple of other things. I've been testing out laptop bags. If you guys have a laptop bag you want me to test, we're doing $100 messenger bag style bags. It's 13 inches and smaller. So we're looking for MacBook Air bags, basically.
MacBook Air and iPad.
Yeah.
Not for Retina MacBooks.
I've got a Rickshaw Zero, which is their core messenger bag. I've got something from Acme. I've got Manhattan Manhattan Portage. If there's anything else you want to see in the other 100 category, post in the comments. I'll track it down and get it in. We have some interesting tests figured out. I'm going to see, like, the goals for me for a laptop bag are: can you live out of it for 2 days? Like, if you don't need to take pants and extra pants and shoes, can it store enough stuff and your laptop and like your clean t-shirts?
You want
and
to
stuff
Johnny
like
Appleseed that?
So are you saying that you can go 2 days without changing your pants?
If I take jeans, yeah. Like if you take the right pair of jeans, you can.
I feel like the norm is probably not going to be on board with that.
No. First of all, if you buy a nice pair of jeans, you only really need 3 really nice pairs of jeans
Yeah.
to last you at least a year.
But will you wear? How many days in a row would you wear the same pair of jeans?
Different rules when you're traveling.
Different. Not only different rules when you're traveling.
Okay, so how long
But-
does a trip have to be before you figure you'd have to take?
You
a
can
second
Longer
pair
wear
of
than 2
jeans?
nights.
If you have a really nice, expensive, unwashed raw denim and you wear that in, you can wear that jean for a week.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So yeah.
I mean, you're not going to go on black and white balls with that, but you can go to work every day.
Yeah, you can go to work if you're going someplace that's like casual nice, but not nice. You can wear a pair of dark jeans most places on the West Coast. Like I wouldn't go to New York and go to fancy dinner with a pair.
It's not even what's socially acceptable. It's that jeans are made to be worn like that, not made to be worn once and washed and worn again and washed.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That's what I like about them.
Yeah. So I mean, so my travel strategy when we go on like a 2 or 3 night trip is 1 pair of jeans, 1 nice shirt, and then t-shirts and undershirts and underwear. And like
Will,
you always gotta have a
I did
backup
not
shirt,
realize
though.
that you had a different. You were so peculiar with your jeans that you have in your head jeans that are acceptable to be on camera and not acceptable to be
yeah,
on
I
camera.
have camera jeans and not. Well, when we went to the storage
Camera
unit,
jeans.
We tried. I thought we were going to shoot a video on Monday, and Will was wearing his,
I wore
His
so
mom
I have
jeans.
old guy jeans.
Mom jeans.
So
and he
okay,
refused to be on
Gary,
camera with them.
Gary knows about this. You have clothes that you have that are comfortable from before you lost weight
Yeah.
that are still linger.
No,
So like
all those clothes
you
are
got
gone.
them all.
I can't wear them anymore.
Okay,
They're
so
too
when you
big.
go home,
So I just cinched the
But
belt.
no, I
right
have
down.
jeans that I don't give a fuck about, and jeans that if I'm gonna go to a meeting or an event or something,
Yeah.
I'll wear the better jeans.
wear the
Yeah.
better jeans all the time.
No, so we were in the fucking storage unit. I don't want to risk a pair of nice pants.
and wear shorts.
I'm not wearing shorts.
I also don't agree that you can travel with just one shirt because
One shirt you can't do.
I'll always end up spilling pinkberry on it or something, and then you got no backup.
Well, you have to be careful. I'm
Doesn't matter how
incredibly
careful you are, shit happens.
I just don't put myself in situations where I could lose the shirt. Like if I
You
will
won't lose it,
I won't
but
have. I won't
you
have.
don't wanna lose
Some
your
asshole could spill their coffee on you. You have no control over that situation.
That's true. So there's always a sense of unpredictability.
You gotta be
but,
prepared for
Like I'm
that.
not going to eat the lobster buffet
Wait,
if I
so
only have one shirt.
Going back to the bags, what would you put in your bag to be able to live off of it for? What is it? 2 days or 3 days?
Two nights, 3 days.
Wow, 3 days.
So you start off with 1 pair of clothes that you wear on the first day when you leave. That doesn't go in the bag, but it has to come back in the bag.
You need one
Sure.
pair of underpants and 1 pair of socks for each day. That is
Right, and that is
absolutely.
non-negotiable. And I wear an
Non-negotiable.
undershirt too, so I have an undershirt
Wow.
each day
Okay.
as well.
Okay.
So then the other days I have
That's
t-shirts.
already like it's a lot of stuff already.
If you fold it up nicely, it'll fit in. It'll totally fit into
know,
like a
vacuum
big
seal?
messenger bag. No, but like that Acme Clyde bag that I have, you
which
can
I have,
easily
yep.
fit 3 days worth of stuff
It is
in
always
that.
a
That is a
battle.
big bag.
It is
a
always
big
a
bag.
battle because I'm someone that places a very, very high premium on traveling as light as possible.
Yeah.
And so you are constantly kind of balancing that equation.
Yeah, I mean, so the challenges I have when you pack that much stuff into a small bag are: can you get your little Ziploc bag that has to come out at security out easily enough? Can you get the laptop out? Is stuff actually accessible so you can use it when there's still clothes in there?
Yeah.
But like when we went to Seattle, all I took was that little bag.
Oh,
I
love
had one
that.
little shoulder
'Cause
bag.
I often fly to if I fly to LA or fly to Seattle and I can get in and out in a day.
Yeah.
It's great flying like that because you have no overnight bag. You have the
Yeah.
very, very minimum. Like sometimes I don't have any bag at all. If I don't feel like I need like my iPad or my laptop, it's just me. There's nothing.
Yeah.
And you know what?
That's a wonderful. way to
I was talking
travel.
to my friends, and we like flying Virgin because it's very comfortable, right? And
Yeah,
it's
Virgin
not,
America's
It's
a
all
great
not
airline.
even like that much more expensive. Yeah, maybe a little bit sometimes.
But it's a better experience.
It's a better experience overall, but you don't get 2 free bags as you do with Southwest. And a lot of people I know
Yeah, but who checks
prefer
bags anymore?
Norm is a bag
women.
checker.
I don't check bags, but women check bags.
My wife doesn't check bags.
Well, you've trained her well.
No, she trained me well.
Yeah,
She's a
Leah
much
doesn't
better
check her
traveler
bag either.
than I am.
She has the biggest carry-on that you can take,
Yeah.
and she maximizes the use of that.
Yeah.
But checking bags
Yeah,
is for
yeah.
suckers.
So I can go for a
Equipment you
week.
check.
I can go for a week on that little rolly bag, that Titan, if I
Yeah.
pack well.
yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
lot.
I mean, the problem for me is shoes. If I have to bring more than 1 pair of shoes, it changes the whole dynamic because I have big feet. I can't fit shoes in a shoulder bag. Anyway,
Checking bags is madness.
checking bags sucks. Yeah.
I think you just need a nice pair of leather shoes that you can wear.
I do have a nice pair of leather
That you can
shoes
wear
that I wear, but then if I have to
normal.
walk and stuff, then that changes. There are challenges. You know, I have a flow
This is
chart
your
of packing.
George Clooney thing. This is your up in the air
Oh,
moment.
he did a whole thing, didn't
Well, he had a whole other level of system.
Yeah, that's different though. He lived out of that. I couldn't do that. I don't
2
like
days
being
at a
gone
time.
for more than a week.
3 days at a time, 2
Yeah.
nights at a time.
So laptop bags, again, if you have something you want us to look at, send me a note, post in the comments. We'll check it out. Replicator we've had running for the last week or two. I'm still having a little bit of trouble dialing it in. Like getting the platform level, even though that's the only thing we have to do, is a little bit tricky.
And getting the platform level is just 4 screws, a matter of 4 screws in the bottom.
Yeah, but it has to be real level. And I've already crashed the heads into the platform and scraped up the tape once, which always is scary. It didn't do any damage, but it's not good.
You did print something with 2 heads.
I printed something with 2 heads. I'm having trouble getting
that's
those
not
heads aligned.
an item with 2 heads on it, but using both print heads.
Yeah,
to
black
print
and white
one
plastic.
thing.
Yeah, and that worked reasonably well out of the box. There's still lots of room for improvement. So I'm doing some reading. I don't have. It's the kind of thing that if I sat down and spent a whole day kind of futzing around with it, then I'd be able to figure it out pretty quickly. But in 20-minute chunks, there's never progress. So we'll have more on that soon.
I think it's the right type of tinkering. It's not like the frustrating, you broke the print head with the first maker, but spent a week trying to find replacement parts, rebuilding the extruder.
The challenge of this one, though, is that because we didn't build it, like on the old one, I felt really comfortable taking everything apart and field stripping it, basically. On this one, because we didn't build it, I don't know how it all goes together, and I feel a little bit less confident if it comes to taking it all the way apart. So, there's good and bad with not building it. But I think overall, out of the box first print has been much better. Oh, yeah. And a kind reader has volunteered to print to laser cut us some side panels for it.
Acrylic
panels that'll help, and a hood, and that'll help with the warping, which seems to be because the plastic comes out of it so finely now that the warping happens because of breeze in the room.
Wind.
Yeah. Last couple of things. The Next Generation Blu-ray, you got them. You got the first season.
Yeah.
You like it?
Very glad I did. Also, Norman Brad came over.
We talked about it a little bit
viewing party
last week,
and we were all, stunned by it really. I mean, it looks like, it doesn't just look like a better image. It looks like it's just like they just made the show yesterday. It really is a revelation. And we watched the behind the scenes little documentary on how they did the restoration, and it's pretty amazing.
Cool.
I mean, season 1 is not very good, but it's historically very interesting to see the show in its first season.
Excellent.
And it, like I said, it's image quality.
What's the high point of season 1?
We haven't got there.
Only a couple episodes in. There are some good ones in there though.
Last thing is I bought a 3DS.
Wow, because they lowered the price, or because you got the big one?
You should have held out for the big one.
Well, because we're gonna do a quick look of the big one in a couple of weeks when it comes out.
I'm excited about that big one.
And have you even opened your original?
I have the Zelda one. We've played some games, and it hasn't got a lot of use. I mainly bought it for Leah, and again, other things have gotten in the way.
How much is the 3DS now?
$169.
Oh my god! Get an Nexus 7. Don't get a 3DS.
If I was in the market for a 3DS right now, I would definitely hold out for the jumbo one. The XL.
So the thing that I've been reading is a lot of the early coverage of the 3DS XL came out, and I didn't use the original 3DS very much. I played a little bit of Brad and Ryan's at different times, but everybody is saying that the screen's harder to keep in 3D mode. Like the sweet spot is less forgiving.
Oh, okay.
Because the screen's bigger, and I was worried that if I hadn't used the original one when it came time to look at that context was necessary. Right. So, and I wanted to play New Super Mario Brothers 2 when it comes out. So there we go. Mm-hmm. I guess unless anybody has anything else to add, any baby stuff you've been testing, Gary?
No, we do have a new vibrating, what they call a bouncer. It just, you put it in
that sounds fun.
She sits in it and, it kind of bounces up and down a little bit. And it has a vibrating motion, which is supposed to be apparently very calming
soothing
and comforting for babies. So it's a good way to get them to chill out.
Oh, the push-ups
Third
start
set
again.
of push-ups.
Oh, he really is dedicated.
He feels the burn.
And not only is Joey doing push-ups, he's doing fist push-ups, which are tougher than palm push-ups.
I think we should look into getting Joey to do some kind of charity push-ups for Oktobercast.
Oh, I like that.
That is a wonderful idea.
Get people to donate per push-up.
Every time Joey does a set of push-ups. Joey does push-ups every time we get $1,000.
No, I don't think that's going to work.
You don't think so?
I think it's going to be intervals need to be higher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Optimism.
But I think that I like the idea. There's something there, I think.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about some questions?
I think it. Oh yeah, we haven't answered questions, but I think that it needs to be a challenge for Joey, like a marathon, like a walkathon.
It has to be. It has to test it.
You think people donate based on the number of push-ups Joey does?
Yes, exactly.
Yes, that's
Joey's just
sponsor Joey,
quietly shaking
sponsor
his head.
Joey for every 100 push-ups, $1,000 or something.
Something like that. Yes.
Okay, we'll figure something out. And now questions.
Emails?
Well, but we do the other one.
Emails.
We don't do emails. We do
emails.
No.
Questions. Boom.
If you have a question for This Is Only Test, the email address is podcast@tested.com. Keep your questions short. Under 45 seconds is preferred. Make sure that they don't sound like you're being chased by a herd of buffalo. Here is our first and only question this week. It's about tablets.
Hi, Tested Crew. It's Tom from Doncaster, England here. Hometown trivia for you. Doncaster is the place where the famous steam train, the Flying Scotsman, was made. My question is about tablets. I want to get a tablet sometime this year, and I'm wondering when the best time to get one is. Do I go for a Nexus 7 or iPad now, or wait for a Surface or even a new iPad? I don't have any Apple products, and I really just want a tablet for internet browsing and watching films on the go. Love to hear your thoughts, and always be testing.
I think we kind of covered this earlier, but I would say, like, if you don't want to wait, you can get a Nexus 7 and be perfectly happy with it right now.
I
But
might
at this point, I don't think it would be foolish to wait. Unless you want it right now, why not wait to see what the Apple alternative is and then have a choice?
I think that's fair advice.
Decide whether you want a big tablet or a small tablet. If you want a small tablet, wait until September 12th. If you want to consider a big tablet, wait until the end of October when Surface comes out.
The other thing that's important to note is that the version of Chrome on the Nexus is much better than the browser on the iPad, I think.
Oh, okay.
What?
I like it better. I think it's faster. It's more functional.
Not faster at all. Safari on iOS is still so much faster.
Okay.
Have you tried? I can show you demonstrations. Safari on the iPhone.
This is something we should do a video of,
let's
not
do
on
this
camera.
right now. I believe you, though.
Yeah,
I
Safari
don't know.
is so much faster than Chrome.
Put another way, having Chrome be the default browser on the Nexus 7 versus having to always copy and paste links and open them in Chrome on iOS is bad. And the integration with Chrome between the desktop and the tablet
Feature-wise,
is
sure,
really,
debatable.
really important for me.
Love the device syncing, love all that stuff. Speed, Safari's much
The only
faster.
thing I would say is that I don't think the Nexus is that great for video on the go. I think there's not enough space to really
I
store
thought the video looked good.
It looks good, but
People
you
buying
can't get a
16.
big enough one. I don't think you can get a big enough.
How many movies do you
Nexus.
need?
It depends on how long
Honestly,
you're
though,
going for.
if I'm going
Depends
on
on
a
what-
plane journey though, and I want to watch some video,
Yeah,
it's like
even if you're traveling
the
for a
iPhone
week.
is kind of too small. The video is kind of crappy. An iPad, like even an iPad, is a little large sometimes for traveling.
It's
with.
awkward.
So again, the porridge is just right.
The
Even video
longest
iPad.
flight
not
you're going to
talking
be
about
on
the
is
screen
24
size.
hours, right? 18-hour flight. How many movies are you going to watch on the Nexus 7?
Well, but it's not about how long you're going to be on the flight. It's about how long you're going to be gone for the trip. If you're going,
But you're not watching
videos
videos the whole time, and you have Wi-Fi presumably at some point.
I just think 16 gigs is a bit small for storing.
I think if
HD
you're
video
traveling
on
for
the
more
device.
than a week, you should not be watching, 10 hours of movies on your device.
Well, Norm, you don't have a traveling salesman job where you're always out and about and don't go home for long stretches in between.
you could also do, you can just root it and attach a hard drive to there.
That would be the other thing you could do. So that'll do it for questions this week. That was easy. I guess that does it for us for the show. Stuff to plug. iOS version of Walking Dead's out.
Yeah, I think it came out last week. And
Just
it's
episode 1.
Yeah, just episode 1 so far. I mean, just like the other versions, it will be episodic. Episode 1's out right now. And it's been very well reviewed. Touch Arcade and all the kind of the tablet gaming websites love it. It's actually, many people have said they think it's the best version because it works really well with the touch control. So that's
Excellent.
good.
We'll check
And
it out.
in other Walking Dead news, we just announced today that if you go into PAX in Seattle at the end of the month, on the Friday, August 31st, there will be a Walking Dead panel
Ooh.
with me and Sean Vanneman and Jake Rodkin, who are the two project leads on the game, will be up on stage talking about the series and answering questions, and it should be fun. So you should come along.
Is there going to be any idle thumbs chit chat on that?
Well, so
panel?
Jake and Sean also do Idle Thumbs, so there's a bit of crossover there.
Some
And I'm
opportunity.
told there'll be some kind of surprise thing that will be happening there, but I don't know what that
a
is.
special
yet.
guest.
Yeah, some kind of
Okay.
special thing.
Cool. I'll look forward to that. I'll be there. Norm.
Oh, you are going?
Yeah, I'm going. I bought
Okay.
tickets the other day.
And we're all going together. Like, I'm taking the baby. Like, I'm going to be walking around with the baby and the
Wow.
baby carrier
Cool.
and the whole thing. So
Are you going to get like a little Quato kind of baby carrier thing?
Well,
or
I
is
have
it
the baby carrier
You might
already.
need a SARS guard also.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at various things. for
Tiny
that.
mask.
Yeah.
Get a bubble dome.
It'll be the first time that we've traveled with the baby on a plane. So again, there's
Oh
another.
boy. Which
whole-
flight are you on? I need to find out so I can
Yeah,
make sure I'm not on
you wanna
that
be on
one.
a different one.
Yeah.
We're getting in a day earlier though, so that we have a day to just kind of chill
Okay.
out. We're gonna like go to Seattle and like look around Pike Place Market and
Oh,
things.
cool.
Just do some touristy stuff before we get into PAX.
I think we're flying on Friday around noon. So
Oh yeah, we'll be there. We'll be
Yeah.
there long before that.
okay, we'll meet up for dinner or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, that'll do it for us this week. Stay tuned for fake outtakes. I think we're probably going to talk about packing gaping chest wounds, so that'll be fun. For Norman Chan and Gary Whitta, we'll be back next Thursday. Bye. Hi there, I didn't see you. We may or may not run it on the air. While I'm all over the place, it is really hot in here today. You learned how to clean a wound.
Well, after a fashion, not like a real like battlefield wound or anything, like cauterizing someone's severed leg.
You didn't heat up a sword and just jam it in
tear
there?
open the
No,
packets
this
of the
wasn't
morphine.
like Game of Thrones combat medicine or anything, but yeah.
If you don't want to talk about this, we don't have to
No,
talk about it.
it's okay. It's fine. I mean, in the spirit of things, it will probably gross Norm out. Although I think it seems like he's getting better at this.
You know,
Unless there's
developing
poop.
the trade-off is I get to hold the baby.
Norm-
Holding the baby makes
Norm-
it so worth.
Norm came over the other night, and the cover for him coming over was he wanted to watch the Blu-ray Star Trek with us. But we soon realized that actually what he really wanted to do was just come over and hang out with the baby.
It's so true.
And the Star Trek
I invited
was
myself over
secondary consideration.
using the guise of Star Trek.
The baby is pretty awesome.
Norm
Just to
loves
hold
the
the
baby.
baby.
Norm loves
Yeah.
the baby. He likes holding the baby. He doesn't like the stuff that comes out of the baby, but he likes the baby.
This is the opening set. This is the opening phase of Norm getting baby crazy. He's about the right age.
I don't think he's going to get
No,
crazy for his
not-
own baby anytime
No,
soon.
no, I just like holding. It's
You
like
need
a
a baby,
dog.
Norm.
It's like
Norm's not willing to give up his cavalier bachelor lifestyle.
it's like
anytime
I
soon.
don't even have a dog yet. I want a dog, but I like other people's dogs.
Yeah, you got
That's
to.
true.
Baby is like the highest level. You got to.
You're kind of like a vampire. You're a other people's love vampire,
Yes, absolutely.
going from house to
Love
house,
vampire.
loving their critters and children, and
But getting good practice at the same time.
that's true. That's true. You're a good baby holder.
But since you brought it up, just real quick, one of the complications of the pregnancy and the birth was that Leah, we ended up having a cesarean section, and Leah has an incision, a wound, scar thing, which hasn't fully closed up. And so in order to help it fully close up, she has to, or I was doing it at first, and then she has become fully self-sufficient in doing it on her own, basically do kind of minor abdominal surgery twice a day, where she takes these kind of long ribbons of gauze, this packing tape,
Yeah.
and with a very long Q-tip, stuffs it into her little incision.
Into the
which,
hole?
which goes a good few inches down, and you
Oh.
stuff it, you pack it with the packing tape to wick out all the moisture and the blood, make sure it doesn't get infected.
Is
and
there
then
like pus and stuff in there?
there was pus, it got infected, which is why she needed to do it. And it's interesting to watch. I mean, it's
Norm, you're out of the shot.
it's invasive surgery,
Yeah.
and she has an open scar, which
wait.
Open wound.
An open
There is a
wound.
wound where you stuff gauze and some type of thing inside to soak up.
to soak up the various stuff. It wicks
Pus
out
and
all the
mucus and
blood and
lymph.
moisture and stuff that's collecting in there, and it encourages and helps the wound to close up more quickly. And
It's
heal
like a
cleanly.
tampon for your wound.
It's kind of like a tampon, except it's like a very, very long gauze ribbon, which you wrap around the end of a Q-tip, and then you stuff it into
And
the
and
wound.
that you leave it in there?
Yeah, it stays there, and at the end of the day, you pull it out, and you put a clean one in, and you do that every day.
Twice.
Yeah, twice a day. Every
And do you have
day.
to like irrigate it and stuff too?
Yeah, so you irrigate. You put a syringe in there, and you flush the wound out with a sodium chloride solution.
Salt
Look at
water,
Norm's
basically.
face, as always, is as priceless.
I knew this was going to be good.
It was very weird at first, but you got used
How
to it.
big
And
is
now
the cavity?
it was about 1.5 inches at first, and now it's like 1/4 inch because it's
How much
healing.
I can't imagine how much gauze.
But the Q-tip is about say this long, about 8 inches long, and it goes almost all the way in. And she has to jiggle it around to pack in all the little crevices,
all the
nooks and
crannies,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite the procedure. It only takes about 5 minutes, and now we've got it down to a fine art. And it only takes Leah about 5 minutes to do
Does
it.
she have to like iodine or wash the area around beforehand?
No, just
you put like Bactine in there.
No, just irrigate it.
Okay. You don't put
It's
hydrogen
not-
peroxide or
it's,
anything in the wound.
It's not sterile, so it doesn't have to be kept
Oh, okay.
clean.
Okay.
like that. Yeah.
Wow. Norm's making a
It's
really
not
bad face.
It's not uncommon. It's a fairly common home care procedure, as it turns out.
This is one of those. We should probably
But yeah.
mention that there's a video. If you only listen to us audio, there's full video of the podcast.
Yeah, and if you're only listening to the audio, you are missing some of Norm's
it's
best
like
reactions.
he's real horrified now. He's
the-
kind of hamming it up a little bit. I
the
think.
strength of his reaction is not always fully evident from
the
the audio alone.
visualization. Oh God!
Just
I
think
did not
about the
realize.
8-inch Q-tip disappearing into your stomach.
Yeah, and it goes
No.
way down.
No,
like,
Yeah.
much further than you think
no,
it should.
No, no.
Can she feel it like wobbling around in there? Do you have?
Does it
Yeah,
smell?
well, at
sensitivity?
first you would have to take a painkiller.
Okay.
Like half an hour before she would do it so that it wouldn't be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And now she just kind of does it.
What does it smell like?
Doesn't smell like anything.
Oh, it's not like
It smelled. It smelled.
blood
No, it
and
smelled at first
throat.
when there was still some infection there, and she took antibiotics to make it go away. It smelled a little bit like chlorine.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, and there was like a yellow oozing discharge
Oh.
pus But now it's just
like how much? Like a lot? It's a big wound?
there was a fair amount at first, which is why we went to the doctor to have it
that seems a
investigated.
good
He said, yeah, it's
idea.
infected. You need to do this to clean it. It should clean up on its own, and should heal on its own. We had those steri-strips that kind of keep the incision together.
Yeah.
But then it got infected, and so now we have to do the packing to kind of encourage it to heal.
And with all
'cause it
the
won't go into-
MRSA and all that stuff, they're always really worried about getting skin infections.
Yeah, you got to watch out for that. I mean, we have crazy clean room conditions at our house now, where we boil all the water to make the formula, and constantly, we have hand sanitizer and hot soap and water everywhere. You're constantly cleaning everything to keep to make sure the baby doesn't get any bad stuff.
Like a
poor
shot
little-
glass full of
I
pus.
just want to say, I did not bring it up. It was Will, and I would not have brought it up on my
You
own.
mentioned it weeks and weeks ago, and
Yeah,
said we
but
got to talk to Norm about this.
I know, but I'd actually completely forgotten about it.
I know. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Never forget.
I saw a movie for the first time today, which I couldn't believe after the fact I'd not seen the movie.
The
before.
Corgi Cam?
No, a movie.
Oh.
Corgi Cam is something else that you can Google, I think. The
Yeah,
live
it's awesome.
YouTube
It's Corgi puppies.
Cam, Corgi Puppies.
All day long.
Works great on the iPad, great on iPhone, great on Nexus 7. I've tested it on all 3 devices.
At the same time.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Big Trouble in Little China.
You've never seen Big Trouble in Little China?
Never seen Big Trouble in Little China.
Where did you watch Big Trouble in Little China?
At home.
This morning?
No.
Oh,
at
you said
night,
today.
2 nights ago this
Oh.
week.
Wow.
I'd
Well, I mean, I'm
never
glad.
seen
I'm
that.
glad you've
Good
watched it.
God,
but
man.
I mean, bloody hell! How can you go
I know.
this far into your life and
I
have not
know.
seen that movie?
It's a fantastic movie.
I saw that
It's
at the theater when I was like
incredible.
10 or whatever.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's John Carpenter's finest work.
You know why? I
maybe
think-
not. Maybe The Thing.
When I was shown movies like that as a child, we were shown The Golden Child instead, and those movies came out the
You
same
poor
summer,
bastard.
and they both have the Asian mysticism, but it's
One-
nowhere near.
One is much better than the other. The Golden Child is the Eddie Murphy movie
That
about
is
the
Eddie
magical
Murphy.
kid.
Yep.
The I got to work with Kurt Russell on a movie project a couple of years ago, and I asked him about it because I actually brought my Blu-ray and said, I'm sorry, can you sign this? And he was like, yeah, don't worry about it. And he was telling me about it. He said his opinion is the genius of that movie. And by the way, the commentary track is really. You should
I want to
listen to the commentary
Yeah.
track.
Who's the? Is it him
It's
and
Kurt and
John
John
Carpenter?
Carpenter.
Oh
Yeah.
fuck yeah!
And it's fantastic.
I've read the whole the production story behind it, and I've been on all the fan sites.
Terrific movie. And his feeling on why it's so successful and the genius of the storytelling is that his character
Jack Burton.
thinks he's the hero of the movie.
Yeah.
He's actually the
the
sidekick,
sidekick.
and he doesn't realize
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
And
It's,
when
Wang
you-
is the hero.
And I had never looked at it in that point. When you watch it, realizing that he's actually Wang's sidekick, he just doesn't know it.
Yeah.
That unlocks the movie. It unlocked it in a new way. That
But
I fully
it's a
appreciate.
confidence. It's a very Han Solo like confidence.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I mean it's very much based on kind of Han Solo, and he's so full of himself.
it's the Green Hornet thing, not the bad movie, but that's what the Green Hornet was. The Green Hornet, Kato was kind of the hero,
Right.
and
Right. Or like Hong Kong Fooey. Remember,
Yeah.
it was actually the cat that
Never
solved all
saw
the
that.
crimes.
never saw Hong Kong
In
Fooey.
Hong Kong Fooey.
What's
You never-
is that? Is that
You never
like,
seen Hong Kong Fooey?
No.
Hong Kong Fooey was
Sounds
a
kinda
was,
racist.
was a dog. Scatman Crothers did the voice. It was a Hanna-Barbera animated series.
Okay, like Yogi Bear era.
Yes, Hong
Okay.
Kong Fooey, #1 super guy. He was a dog. He was a dog janitor who was also into kung fu.
Wow.
So
And he
the
was the
janitor-
janitor. He was a janitor at the local police station, but he also wore like a kung fu outfit, and he solved crimes that the police couldn't solve. But in fact, the cat that was his sidekick would secretly solve the crimes while he wasn't looking, but in such a way that Hong Kong Fooey believed he had solved the crime.
so it's like Sherlock Holmes and Watson.
Just YouTube.
I'll go
it.
YouTube. Okay. I finally started
How
watching.
could- so you've never seen Big Trouble in Little China. You've never heard of Hong Kong Fooey.
I have big cartoon.
It's like I
balls.
feel like I'm having to reevaluate you all from scratch.
I watched Sherlock, the Benedict Cumberbatch one.
Yeah, great show.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, very
Season
good.
1 or 2.
So, all the way through season 1, starting on season 2 very soon.
Yeah, very good.
It's very good.
I was really. I remember you guys had recommended that, and I
Yeah,
finally got back
don't
to
watch the PBS version because they edit it down. You want to watch
I watched
it
the
on
one on
Netflix.
Netflix, yeah.
Okay.
it. Yeah. What else is
Does
going
anyone
on?
watch Newsroom?
No.
Aaron Sorkin's new show
Baby.
on HBO. It's made me want to watch more cable news shows. Like I watched a whole hour of Rachel Maddow last night because Olympics was boring.
Yeah, well, Sorkin went to MSNBC and sat there for a long time doing his research. And Sorkin is my favorite writer. He's kind of my hero, my screenwriting role model. And I a tremendous admiration for him. I think he's genius. And I love all his shows, even the ones that other people don't like. I even like Studio 60.
People love.
I love
there-
Studio
there-
60.
There's some really good parts about it.
It's probably his weakest television show of the three that he did. And I was so excited about Newsroom because it's exactly the sort of thing that I would want to see. I haven't seen a single fucking episode yet, and I keep telling myself this is what happens with this on-demand age. It's like, I'll just watch them all on HBO Go. They'll all be there.
Yeah.
So at some point I will sit down and watch them all. I just haven't had time.
Yeah.
It's a polarizing show. Also, he did a really good interview on Fresh Air.
It's Jeff Daniels
with Terry Gross. It is Jeff Daniels, and he plays his character Will McAvoy
from Dumb and Dumber. Jeff Daniels
from Dumb and Dumber. The character is such a fully realized, awesome character that despite some of the story and plot shortcomings of the show, which Sorkin fully admits, his weakness is story. The character is so great that it's very compelling.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, fascinating. He's always been a great character writer. Yep. West Wing's still one of the great TV shows ever made.
See, it's too daunting at this point. I haven't watched it at all, and there's
You've
so
never
much
watched
of it.
any West Wing?
I watched a couple episodes
here and there. This is getting more and more depressing.
I that was at a time when I wasn't really watching TV shows. I was playing WoW and video games and shit all the time, and 1 hour dramas were too much time.
So probably a good time to tell you that West Wing is all on Amazon Instant Video.
Great. It's
I'm not on Netflix, but it's on Amazon.
Realistically, I'm not going to go back and watch 7 or 8 seasons of an hour long, 25 episodes
seasons.
a year.
But if there is any show that would be worth doing it with, it's that.
You think so? I'm just going to watch Veep. I feel like I get the gist of what politics is like from Veep. That show,
totally different show.
I know that Veep. By the way,
don't you have my Thick of It DVDs?
I do. I've ripped them all. I'll bring them back. It's on as soon as the Olympics are over and I get to watch TV again. That's what we'll do.
All right, because I want you to rip those for me. So I
have
them on
copies.
My computer. Yeah,
just bring your laptop next time you come in for a podcast. And I'll bring them for you. Okay, I have them.
Okay.
The Veep thing. It's like I was an intern on for the House, not on the Vice President's office or Senate or anything like that.
Were you Jonah?
No, I was an intern. So I was one of the nameless extras in the background that just gets yelled at.
He was Oliver Reader.
Oh no!
I haven't gotten to Oliver. Who's Oliver Reader?
You have to watch the
Thick of It. Okay.
Ollie.
The shit about the way things happen is too true to be funny on Veep.
It's depressing.
It is a little bit depressing because it's too close. Like danger. Like, and that was 20 years ago when I worked there. I can't imagine what it's like now.
Yeah, politics is scary because you realize
constant,
it's real people.
Just constant compromise and struggle for personal survival, and
and it's
I get shit.
And it's ego. It's all driven. So much
of
it's driven by ego and personal affronts and backroom deals and all. It's real.
Doing the math on a children's toy.
It's a miracle that the country functions at all.
Yes,
or any country when you look at the degree of ineptitude and corruption that's out there.
Yeah, it's a den of sea and
it's amazing we have power.
Oh, we didn't talk about that at all.
Yeah, 600 million people without power.
10% of the world powerless.
Double the U.S. population.
Do you see the Onion story?
No.
Yeah.
What was the Onion story?
There's like 300 million in India without power after power
restored.
Oh, no.
There's a picture of some, too funny because it's true. We'll be back next week. See you guys. Podcast. It's on YouTube. It's on the site. It's on iTunes. You can listen to us all over the place.
Yeah.
Or see us
and have you announced the Oktobercast yet?
Not yet. We're gonna get some. We're
getting. Well, I mean, we're getting there. I mean, it's not just a far off thing anymore.
It is.
Have we announced a date?
We're building steam. We haven't announced the date. I think we should do a big date reveal.
Can we do it and announce the vice president also candidate at the same time?
Okay.
I got to get my Mitt Romney VP app to find out who his vice president's going to be.
So my goodness!
I wonder if he'll spell America wrong again.
That was great.
That
was fantastic.
That was a winner.
I don't like these campaign ads at all.
Yeah, it's we'll announce it soon. We have secured multiple guests.
Yes,
I'm
still some very special ones.
I'm hoping to find a venue. I want to find a venue that's not our office.
Yeah.
So we can do like an all-night theater. Maybe get some people in sell tickets and stuff like that.
I don't sell tickets. Really?
Sell tickets.
There would be people that would buy tickets.
If you would be interested in coming to Oktobercast Live, say for a $500 ticket for Child's Play, it's for the kids, Norm. Well, remember last year, multiple people gave multiple thousands of dollars.
But
we want to get them an opportunity.
Spread across the world.
Yeah,
I think we wouldn't be able to find a dozen people in the Bay Area.
That's the number of people I would want in the studio.
Have you spent much time walking around this city? Do you have any idea how many people in San Francisco have mental health problems? We have no trouble filling an audience.
Yeah, we can just get a couple of
$500 a seat.
Well, maybe
say
not a paying audience. That's
what I'm saying.
No one's that nuts.
Yeah.
Regardless.
What about for charity?
Yeah, it's for the kids.
I think
when it's for charity, it doesn't have to be
$10, $20 a seat at most.
It's good. It's good that
Ticketmaster fees. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Do it like Louis C.K.
Do
it all yourself.
$500.
We can't have 100 people in the audience. $500 a seat. We get 10 tickets. It's $5,000. That's real money. Some cheddar.
Yeah. VIP donators who get to sit in the front row.
Yeah.
I think you actually might be surprised
grand,
what some people would pay.
For 10 grand, you
For
can sit in Norm's lap through the entire show.
10 grand.
10 grand. Norm will be your Santa Claus.
Yes.
Okay, we'll see you guys next week.
Under 200 pounds only.